Quick, I have a question.
Oh,
You heard
you
him
were
say that
live,
he's
so
going
ask
live
your
real
question
quick,
to
right?
me and my audience both. Go ahead.
Okay, so if you can see, this will be a whole lot easier.
I
Just
can
just
see
letting you
you.
know.
I can see you. What's your question?
Oh, just asking if you concede, it'll be a whole lot easier. That's all.
Oh,
If I
concede. I thought you said if you
concede,
concede.
okay. Sure, I guess it would be, but why? I'm correct.
Well, because you were complaining, you were like, "Well, this will be a lot harder if I talk over him. If you concede, we'll never have to get to that point, and things will be nice and fine and dandy." Wick,
Well, okay. Well,
see
guess
how
we're doing
easy
it
I
the
just made
hard
your life?
way.
All you gotta do is just concede. That's it. What's the harm in that? I'm doing harm reduction here, Wick.
I'll go gentle on you. Don't worry. But
Yeah,
gang,
that sounds really
this
turned
isn't
him
my
into a
show, so I can't give you my
utilitarian
normal
already.
introduction. But Tomfoolery's hosting today. I have a link to his channel in my description if you guys want to go see it on his end. But yeah, hi Wickers.
Oh,
How are you?
FYI, I do pull up everybody else's chats on mine as long as that's all
That's
right
fine.
with you
Yeah,
guys.
all
I
good.
normally every time I have people on for their debates, I also have their chats up on my screen. So
Yep. Well, I'm ready when you guys are.
yeah, I'm still setting up the cameras. Sorry,
Oh,
give me
it's
just a
just
minute.
8 o'clock, and I was like, okay, I'm ready to go. I'm raring. I'm like one of those horses in the stable, and the gate's about to open before the race. Just pawing at the ground. Again.
Also, he still
Wick, I
doesn't
don't
have
think
his
you're
mic
exactly a
on.
horse, but I mean, I can buy onto the delusion, I guess, if you want me to. But
It's an analogy. I'm making a
All
it's
right,
a
comparison.
pretty poor stretch of an analogy, but I guess we'll just move forward. If the debate's going to move forward in this manner, it's going to be pretty entertaining. I'm going to tell you that right now, Wick.
Well, we'll do some horsing
we need
around.
to
It'll
we
be
need
okay.
to let Marte focus on getting his mic on because he's still on his webcam.
Okay. I have a question. I'm going to let somebody up on my Discord. His name's Mo Rebuttal. He's going to help me out with some tech issues. I think
I
that's
can
what you were
help you
saying,
with
Mo.
it if you can just tell me like are you on Discord? When you go to Discord on the very bottom, you see how it shows you a mic, right?
Yeah, it shows the mic, but then when I open up the options, it says input device, input profile, output device.
Yeah, so you want to go to input device. And then
Input
on
device.
input
It only gives you
device,
default as an
yes.
option. That's it.
So it doesn't say show more below that?
No, it just says
Then
default.
your mic isn't plugged in. You need to unplug it and plug it back in.
All right.
From the computer, most likely, on the other end.
Gotcha. Let me do that.
Off to a great start, gang. How you doing, Tom?
Okay, here
What's
it goes.
Wait, how's
Oh, we got you.
microphone Roadcaster?
Default. How's that sound?
Yes, that is
Better?
the correct mic. Yes, your video's off now though.
Okay, let me. Jeez, man, this is crazy. Okay. Let me fix the video real quick.
Yeah, I need to. I'll take some time to help you set up a OBS as well, because that'll make it easier for you to stream at some point. Oh,
Okay,
it's back
how's
to
that sound and look.
Wow,
yeah,
now I can't hear you.
Okay. Yeah, so
right,
so your audio went way down and we're echoing again like it was last time.
Okay, now can you hear me?
You're very
Better?
quiet.
What? It's very quiet, yeah. And we're still echoing.
This is so stupid. Okay, jeez. All right, hold on 1 second.
So in the meantime, while he messes with things, gang,
Mm-hmm.
hopefully the debate goes well. Tom's been very kind to moderate and host this. You should give him a view, things like that. I hope it's fun. I see you guys in chat. I see you chatting away. Yeah. Honestly, I got nothing till
He
we're
was
ready to
here.
start. I got everything once we do, but I don't know.
He was here where I am now, right?
What do you mean?
Like just a minute ago before his
Yes.
camera
Yes,
turned
when he
off.
turned his
'Cause I'm
camera
trying to
on,
set
he
up
took your
his camera.
position.
Okay.
You were to the.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, there he is.
Okay, I'm talking now. Can you guys hear me a little bit?
No,
maybe?
turn your mic up.
Yeah, your mic is very quiet still.
All right. Crap, man, this is so stupid. How come
And
just
we
can't
still
do
have
this
the
on
echo.
StreamYard like normal people? Oh yeah, that's right. Whick and you guys like to go through Discord all the time.
It's StreamYard has a lot of more problems. Like everybody, every time we go on like Fatty's panel, everybody's lagging out for half of it. Like
Yeah.
it's very, very heavy on the RAM.
Okay, how's that sound?
It's still really bad, man. Go back to the old audio. The old audio was much better.
Yeah, the other one was at least better.
All right, let's let me do something real quick. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna unplug and so crazy. All right, see if this will work. Just reset something real quick. Give me 2 seconds. 2 more seconds.
I don't know, gang. What are we doing? Yeah, this is the average
lot of trouble with
competency of
this.
ice, gang. Like
With his mic last time.
honestly,
as well.
at this point, I just need to say that ICE is conducting immigration enforcement like Marte is conducting his audio issues. Both just aren't working. I win. Good game.
Got him.
Friday we got a good debate coming up on my show. I guess I'm just filling time, man. We're gonna have Kung Fu Joe on. We're gonna have Marlo Nimble, and we're gonna have one of Kung Fu Joe's friends, and they're gonna be debating whether or not America should be a Christian nation. So that will be fun. Tune in for that. Not next week, but the week after, I'm going to the March for Democracy debate, and I have a whole IRL streaming setup. I'm going to interview people at the protest. Should be fun. Oh, and I can hear myself on his end. Bro's got to use push to talk. Okay, it's a godsend. Now I can't hear you at all. Beautiful, wonderful, great time, gang. We're really killing it.
I hate this.
I
really don't like
apologize
this
to my
at all. This is
audience.
so stupid.
$10 from Oh My God It's Soup. How would a StreamYard be any different? Literally, Discord, you just plug the mic in and change the main mic source. Maybe the Democrats are intentionally hacking into his PC and causing issues. Thank you for the $10. Maybe. It's possible. It's those illegal immigrants have stolen his mic power, his audio. They've taken it, right? But I don't know. I got you, Binks. Hold on.
Okay.
Now my shit's not even.
Oh!
So it's back to the other mic. Talk real quick.
Oh, it's back to the other mic.
Oh, now we have
This
a
is my
delay.
laptop.
But you're like 3 seconds behind. Yes. So when you move your mouse, your video is like 3 seconds
It's
behind.
so stupid. This is so
Reset.
dumb.
Just reset your camera real quick.
Yeah, let me do that real quick.
Turn it off, turn it
Jeez.
on. I heard his audio setup had information that would lead to the arrest of Hillary Clinton. Okay.
10-4, 10-4.
No one gets that joke? Fair enough. No one gets that joke? Oh. Dwayno Game says I picked the worst person.
Dwayno Game
Oh,
says
now
I picked the worst person.
Oh my god.
Oh, oh my god.
Switch to Roadcaster. Can't even hear my.
All right. I'll go ahead and go live on my side.
10.
Go live on my my chat's getting
You're
upset that we're
choosing
not.
to
My
live
chat's
in
getting
the
upset.
midst of all this?
Yes.
That's a choice. Of all this? That's a choice.
At least got something there for them to join in on. Yeah, Marte, you are echoing heavily, good sir. Good sir. If you could at least mute yourself until.
Okay. Nope, still
How
there.
did he mute? I heard the mute button, and it didn't even mute the entire time. How is that even possible?
I don't understand what the problem is. You literally, this tech, you just plug it in. It's literally, you just plug it in, and it works. I can use it, and I am one of the worst tech guys you can ever imagine. I don't understand. All else fails, I can just rant at you about ice.
Yeah,
Mr.
we'll just have a circle jerk about ice.
$2 from Zephyr Hash. What is going on? What the fuck? Okay, thank you for that. That was funny.
Marte, can you mute your side until you're ready
Why
to
don't you just mute
test it again?
There he goes. Okay,
There
great.
you go.
Wonderful.
What's up, chat? We are we're going through some tech difficulties for a moment, so we should be ready momentarily.
At this point, he might want to just use his phone. It might be easier.
Yeah, it's been about 20 minutes now, so when I say shortly, it's relative.
Does anyone else want to debate
I'm as
me?
bald but
just
fair.
in case, like,
I'm
this
not
guy
bald.
can't do it. I'll take whoever. I was so excited too. I hardly ever get to debate. And this guy Marte, he challenged me specifically, and he's like, "I want to debate Whick." And I was like, "Oh wow, okay, sure, I'll absolutely do it." And now I feel like I've been tricked. Right?
He's running. Well,
hopefully running to fix his issues. Well, he's back. But will he be better? We'll see.
Marte, remember to unmute yourself whenever you're ready.
$2 from Zephyr Hash. Debating on mute is a goated meta. Yeah, he could be giving the best counter arguments that you've ever heard. Setting up an entire through line that will devastate anything that I can come up with. But he's muted, so we'll never know.
What debates you got going on this week?
Well, after this, only the Friday one, and probably tomorrow or the next day, I'm gonna do some just call-ins, something like that. Nothing too crazy. Did you see the?
Okay. this is just real quick. This is a thing that I started doing a while ago, and I've seen tons of other people start doing it since.
What's that?
Do you know how to do vertical streams?
That's IRL streaming, right?
No, you can do vertical streaming from your computer.
Okay, I
And
don't know what that is.
okay, so vertical streams on YouTube, it plugs you into the shorts feed, and it literally, while people are scrolling through shorts, it'll start popping up with live streams, and you can set it up in a vertical format. And when
Okay.
you do, it will it feeds all sorts of new people in. Now, not great for like long-term viewers who will come over to your landscape stream or your Twitch stream or anything like that. For some reason, people who watch vertical streams, they only watch vertical streams. That's like it's a whole other genre apparently. But I got what's called Google Voice, where it literally gives you a free phone number that you can use almost as like a radio line and have people call in through that. And you put the phone number up on the screen and have people call in through that. And you can get endless amounts of call-ins. It is MAGA heavy. It is very MAGA heavy. Like vertical
Absolutely
feeds
give
are.
it a try one of these nights.
Yeah, I've helped tons of people set up like that, and it's very similar to like how on TikTok they have their own interface for where people can just request up.
No, I don't use TikTok.
Oh, really? Okay. So on TikTok, when you stream on there, it literally has an interface to where people who are watching on their screen, it'll have a button on the video screen that says request up, and you can click on it and it'll put you like the streamer can choose who they want to pull up, and they just pull people up.
Yeah, Zephyr Hash for $5 is saying you can do both together, regular and vertical, but it's 2 separate streams. Noted.
That's what I do.
Noted. Gang, I apologize for the tech issues here. Hopefully my debate opponent will arrive and be ready. Otherwise, if we have anyone in chat who wants to replace him, I don't mind. Just let me know. Someone who wants to argue that ICE is under Trump is a net good for America. So if you believe that and you want to throw down tonight, by all means. But otherwise, I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
I'm gonna see if he'll just try his phone instead. Because I feel like at this point that would probably be the best bet. Manar might be down. Do you know who Manar is?
I don't care who it is. It could be literally anyone.
He is a crackpot right-wing streamer who is horrible at debate, but is like a degenerate debater who just is so bad and will disagree with you on everything and will end up agreeing with you and then turn around and disagree again 2 minutes later when he runs out of arguments. Like, it is.
Look, at this point, I just want to debate. I prep for this. I have arguments. I have an opening statement. I have all sorts of things to say. I don't know.
Yeah, last time I think it was Pisco who showed up an hour late. So we
an hour late? What are these people doing?
Well, to be fair, we did. He already said that he was probably going to be 30 minutes late, so we pushed it back 30 minutes, and then he showed up 30 minutes later than that.
Still... So okay, whatever. Tell Marte to just join in on his phone. Just get on his phone, get on Discord, jump in.
Somebody just said Marte will because they know that he's a fucking crazy person. Oh, sorry. I did. I told, my bad. I was thinking of somebody else. I told Marte to join on his phone. I was thinking of Manar.
Been reading any good books lately?
No, actually I haven't. I used to read fairly regularly. I always used audiobooks because I drove a lot, and now that I don't drive a lot, really listen to anything. I have been playing a lot of Arc Raiders though. That is an
Yeah.
excellent game. That is an insanely great game.
I've heard. Everyone likes it. I don't know. Looter shooters, they're fine. Not my great thing. $5 from Audacity to say if Tom got up to a full sprint and dove on a slip and slide, I bet we could get him at least down to nasal bridge up my canoe chute. Dude, head is smooth. Thank you for that. Grid, maybe you want to replace Mr. Marte tonight. It seems like he is not showing. He's having tech difficulties. So, I need a debate opponent. We're talking about ice. We're debating on whether or not ice is a net good or a net negative under Trump. His second term, to be clear. Will no one step up to the plate? Where are those who would challenge me? I don't know. Yeah, under Trump specifically, Trump too. I'm arguing it's a net negative for America. If you want to debate me on it, jump into Tom's server. Like a race at this point. I don't know, man. Like, is there any word from Marte? Is he saying anything to you?
Nope. I messaged him 5 minutes ago, asking him if he wanted to switch to his phone. He didn't answer. I said, "Are you there?" He didn't answer. We got somebody in the waiting room. I'll pull him in the meantime.
Who we got? Who's this? Hello, sir.
Duck McDuck stuff.
Hello.
Are you there?
Oh, this is gonna be great. More tech issues. Did they just not? Okay. No, I will be
I
kind
moved him out. I
tonight.
Duck McDuck stuff. Are you there? Can you hear us? You just muted yourself.
Yeah, I
Can
hear you guys.
Can you hear us?
I'm camera one more time. It was what happened was very tragic. My camera wouldn't turn on.
Okay.
You hear me?
There you go.
Cool.
Hello.
What's up, guys? Good to see you.
Hi.
What's up? So, did you have a disagreement?
Yes. So I was gonna step in for Marte. Yeah, I typically do vote Democrat. But everything ICE is doing is within the bounds of their authority, and Tom Homan is on paper and in practice a competent leader.
So real quick, were you somebody who was in a chat and just wanted to hop on, or did Marte ask you to hop on, or?
No, I wouldn't talk to Marte, to be completely honest. But I was in Wick's audience, so I've
Okay,
talked.
yeah.
I've been in both your guys' chats before, but yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so go ahead. So what do you like about ICE? What ICE is doing right now?
Yeah, well, I would start with Tom Homan, right? He's an experienced law enforcement leader. He does have a law degree, so you might say that ICE is shuffling problems around the legal system. But that's still like, okay, if you guys are Democrats and you guys are always Kamala people, that's cool, right? I might be on most days, but you still have to go further. You still have to get a little further because when you actually look what ICE set out to do in the first place, and then you specify how they're going about doing it, which is basically you cannot like law enforcement hiring, but that's what they're doing. There's nothing wrong with how ICE is being administered under Tom Homan.
Okay.
All
So
right, Wick.
yeah. Few ways to go with this. It's a little different than the prompt, but that's okay. We'll just have a conversation. I understand you didn't prepare for anything, so we're just gonna talk about it for a little bit.
Yep.
When you say there's nothing wrong with how ICE is going about enforcing the law, I'll just start with this premise, if you will, that I am not against deportations of illegal immigrants. I think it's very perfectly fine to deport people who have broken the law, especially violent criminals, right? And illegal immigrants who have overstayed their visas. If you want to deport them, I don't have anything against that necessarily in practice, like in theory. My problem currently with ICE is how they are doing this. And I think that ICE is not enforcing the law, but instead breaking the law. Its policies in place are violating not only immigrants, but U.S. citizens' due process, their First Amendment rights, their Fourth Amendment rights, and in some cases, their Eighth Amendment rights. And this is a continual habit that ICE under Trump 2 has, and I would put it on to their policies that Stephen Miller, Kristi Noem, and others have given to ICE. I think that we can see the effects of it in how they have conducted themselves, not only in Minneapolis, but in Chicago, how they're conducting themselves in Louisiana, in Florida, in Texas, with over 1,000, right? Over 1,000 civil rights complaints in the detention centers alone for last year. This was from a report from Josh.
Can I jump in?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Sorry, that was my old person voice, but okay. So, a media pushback from me. Defending ICE here. So, if your problem is with Kristi Noem, what if we actually track what Trump said? He campaigned on this, and then the second thing that happened was Tom Homan attempted to implement a broader immigration enforcement program. And as states and governors complain, now Kristi Noem is saying, well, we'll open our own detention facilities. And so the fact that you're receiving complaints and, if substantiate what those are, but isn't this the logical continuation if the federal government has, like, what's wrong with that? It's just saying, yeah, no, Kristi Noem can spend $70 million and then you won't have 1,000 complaints because
Hold
these
on.
will be federal facilities.
Just to be clear, these complaints include sexual abuse, right? Human rights violations, not denial of adequate food and water, medical neglect, abuse of pregnant women, abuse of children. Like, the amount of money or the amount of detention centers doesn't really affect this. This is simply a lack of accountability for ICE officers who this administration has signaled will not be held accountable for their actions. And there's plenty of examples we can give you of this. Look at the Good shooting, right? They didn't even investigate that. They shut down a potential investigation into that. Look at the Alex Preddy shooting. They're not letting the FBI or independent investigators really look into it, but instead are conducting
when there's
in-house,
50 states. So when there's 50 states, okay, and so taking everything that you say seriously, but when there's 50 states, you ultimately dwell down on these two incidents, which probably should be investigated, probably should have some public process behind them.
Well,
but
to
in what
be fair,
way
he
does
did
that
he did
validate what
give
50
like
states are
a
allowed to do?
to be fair, he did give numerous like examples of human rights violations, sexual abuse, things like that. Do you agree that there are reports that claim that these things happened?
Yeah, and they're important enough to me as well that I would want to see the specific reports.
Sure.
And so I'm not denying, I'm not trying to minimize,
But
like
if
make
that
them
was
bigger,
the case,
maximize
you
them.
want to see like some sort of accountability for that, some sort of answers to it from the federal government, some sort of response from it, something like that.
Yeah, but you guys are still, to be completely fair, you guys are just playing your role in a democratic process. That says nothing about ICE's, authority. That just says nothing about whether or not Donald Trump is allowed to actually do what he's doing right now.
Okay, I don't look. Here's the issue. There are things that you can do, right, that are legal, but are still bad overall for the country. But my charge here is that ICE specifically is breaking laws, breaking the constitutional laws. And a good example of this is with the Fourth Amendment. One of the whistleblowers came out recently, right, with I think last month, and showed a secret memo that was being circulated amongst ICE agents from, again, officials, right, leadership of ICE, basically telling them that they could break into homes without a judicial warrant, that they didn't need a judicial warrant. This is a flagrant violation of people's Fourth Amendment rights. And I think that the reason they kept it secret is because they knew it was a flagrant violation. They didn't want the public to find out. So in the process of conducting their legal duties, if they are doing so in an illegal manner, that is, to me, a gross violation, and it is a threat not only to immigrants' civil liberties, but everyone's civil liberties. And no amount of deportations justify the erosion of our civil liberties, which ICE is currently conducting. I'll give you another example, right?
So that's your line in the sand. I'm not trying to stop you, but so your line in the sand is when civil liberties are violated. This means that maybe every layer of the Trump administration and ICE organization, DHS, needs to be called to question.
That is, yes, one of the lines, but they've crossed many. Not only are they doing that, but there was a gentleman who wrote a judge to show mercy to an asylum seeker who was before an immigration court looking to get asylum in the United States. This gentleman wrote a letter to the judge asking him to show mercy. Within 5 hours of writing that letter, DHS had subpoenaed his Gmail account, was going through his emails, and they sent federal agents, FBI agents, to his house. And we have reports from tech companies and other organizations showing that this is a pattern of behavior where if you criticize the government or even just express sympathy towards immigrants, they will subpoena you for your personal information, for your internet records, your search histories, and things like that, and they will send federal agents to your door. And this is a gross chilling effect on people's First Amendment rights. If you criticize this administration, they're going to send in the thugs after you. What is this, Britain? We don't live in England. This is America. It should chill every
So what would remedy
red-blooded American.
Let
me finish. Let me finish just real quick. Let me finish just real quick. Right? It should chill every red-blooded American to the bone that the federal government is sending goon squads to people's houses for emails. That's insane. Oh, Marte is trying to come back in, apparently?
Well, the emails would be a different
No, DHS is doing this. Right? DHS is requesting.
Sure, that would be separate from ICE, but Marte is not in the waiting room, and he still is not replied
Marte
to my
can come. He can just have him join the rating room of Tom. Like they're spamming me.
Yeah, I told him I've sent him like 3 DMs.
Telling him to let me know when he's ready. Maybe we have baby oil and we can rub Marte up and down a little bit. He's still not in the waiting room. So whenever he comes back,
whenever he comes back, tell him to get in the waiting room.
But yeah, the freedom of speech things are a separate issue. It's more so like earlier it seemed as though when you were bringing up rights violations, Whick, and he was saying yes, like I agree that those may exist, but that Trump has like the right to do these things. He has the right to enforce the law. It seems as though you're claiming that. Yes, it seems as though you're claiming that he doesn't have a right to do these things. Isn't that correct?
The president of the United States cannot violate the Constitution. That's true. They can't just by fiat through executive order or through a policy remove your First or Fourth Amendment rights.
I'll just tell you what's wrong with that. What's the only thing that's wrong with that is if you're using this as a justification to say that, we get to have like an unreasonable or unrealistic conversation. Then to me, if I was defending ICE, I would say there's a justification there that it would be difficult to pass in Washington, right? Because you can imagine that these conversations keep coming up. When you're in Washington, or you're on Main Street, these conversations come up and come up again. And I'll obviously leave you guys to it. Thanks so much for letting me fill some space for you guys.
No, I appreciate
and
it.
I'll talk to you guys later.
Yeah, appreciate
See
you
Mark.
hopping in.
Goodbye.
Thanks.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes, it
Yes.
working.
Okay,
We're
so
good.
do me a favor, real
I
quick.
have no
So there's
headphones.
a
I can't
slight.
hear myself, but I can hear you guys.
Okay.
A little bit.
Okay. So there's a slight echo on your Discord where it says video connected right under like all the channels and everything. Do you see it on the bottom left?
Yeah, I see that. Video connected.
Okay, to the right of that, it has like a couple of lines. Does it have a line through it, or do you see the lines like straight up
There's
and
a
down
line
like
through
that?
it.
Okay, so click on that
Okay.
and then turn on noise suppression.
It's grayed out, so it's not.
It was working.
You deafened yourself.
And now you're making it not work.
Well, no, there's still an echo, so that you deafened yourself. Okay, there you
Huh?
go. There you go. You deafened yourself. That
You
I was
fixed
just
it.
trying to get the echo off. But yeah, if it's not grayed out, then that's fine. Or if it's grayed out, then I guess there's nothing we can do about it. Okay, so we're gonna go to opening statements then. Before that, if you guys can do me a favor, just give a quick introduction of who you are, where people can find you, and what you do on your channel. Marte, first, please, sir.
My name is Marte Reyes, and I am the host, one and only host and producer of On the Edge, and also the host of Oak Autopsy with me and co-host Cool Vic. Also, you can find me as Mighty Marte on Twitter, and also the Real Mighty Mouse on Instagram. Stay tuned. I got more debates. Usually I don't have these tech problems. It's only in Discord. Just going to say that real quick. But thank you for having me on the panel. And thanks, Whick, for meeting me for this competent conflict. So that's all.
Awesome, man. Appreciate it. And then Wick, go ahead. Let people
Sure.
know where to find you and what
Whick,
you talk about.
You can find me on YouTube and Twitch, Whick TV. Not Twitch tonight because tomfoolery's banned, unfortunately. But yeah, find me on YouTube. I do debates. I do conversations. I do all sorts of things. That's me.
All right. Appreciate it. Okay. So we're going to do opening statements. The question is Trump's ICE a net benefit for America or a net negative for America? So we're going to let Wick go first with why ICE under Trump is a net negative. Wick, up to 4 minutes, please, sir.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you for being here, Marte. Thank you for hosting tomfoolery. One of the bedrock principles of America is a belief in due process. When we rebelled against England, one of the driving factors behind that was the Crown's abuse of Americans through the courts and denying us proper due process. In order to ensure this would never happen again, we built protections into the Constitution to protect everyone in America from similar abuses. Today, under Trump, ICE is violating people's constitutionally protected rights, not only those of immigrants, but also those of citizens. People are being detained wrongfully, released after being apprehended for exercising their First Amendment protected rights to record ICE agents and report on their whereabouts and activities. They also are violating the Fourth Amendment, with whistleblower reports indicating that ICE leadership officials are instructing their officers to break into homes without a judicial warrant. These protections are fundamental to America. Without them, we are all worse off. When ICE violates them and nothing is done, we are all at risk. My rights are more important than people's fears of immigrants, and no amount of deportations are worth the erosion of our American liberties or civil values. The liberties and values that we have made us the greatest nation on earth today. I do not wish to live in a world where the DHS can subpoena my Google email records and send FBI agents to my house when I criticize Trump and his policies. Unless you think I am being hyperbolic or fear-mongering, this has happened and continues to happen as a matter of policy under the Trump administration. A gentleman wrote an email to a judge asking for mercy for an asylum seeker, and not 5 hours later, the feds were combing his emails and sending agents to his door. This is to say nothing of the economic issues being caused, nor the continuing decline of trust in our institutions, made significantly worse because DHS is lying to the public and to the courts constantly. DHS and ICE under Trump has made us all worse off. Our civil liberties are under threat in a way that I have not seen before in my lifetime. They are not enforcing the law. They are breaking it. So I say, on behalf of America, its values, and its people, fuck ICE.
All right. Thank you, Wick. And then Marte. Opening statement, please, sir. Why Trump is a net positive for America. You have 4 minutes.
I thought the prompt was ICE under Trump was a net negative. That's what the prompt was, right?
Yes, correct.
You had
Why
said
it is
Trump,
not a net negative, I
you
guess.
said Trump was a net positive for America.
Sorry,
clearing that
ICE
up.
under Trump.
Okay, I didn't hear that part. Okay, I just wanted to make sure
Okay.
that there's clarity here before we proceed. So, ladies and gentlemen, wake up and smash the outright lie that ICE under Trump is a net negative. It's the iron-fisted savior of America crafted after the gutless, border-bleeding disasters of Obama and Biden. Trump didn't babysit invaders. He obliterated threats, exploding arrests to a blistering 393,000 to 595,000 in his second term's first year alone, pulverizing Biden's laughable dribble by quadrupling daily takedowns. That's brutal. What my opponent here is talking about is painting us like the Escapo, saying that emails are going to be looked at. There's going to be no ultimate transparency to the point to where it's overcorrection. That's not what even the debate is about. Literally talking about immigration, customs enforcement. He's going to some overarching principle that there's some secret state, whatever he's alluding to. That's not what the debate's about. Back to this. While Biden straight up betrayed us, gutting criminal deportations by 74% and arrests by 66%, as his open border nightmare unleashed 8 million illegal floods. Yes, floods. Trump hammered home 675,000 deportations plus 2.2 million cowardly self-exiles in year one, crushing border apprehensions to rock bottom lows, proving raw power saves American lives, lock down streets, and crushes the anarchy spineless cowards like they begged for. The net positive, you'd say, Wick, a fortified, unbreakable America. In America, Wick, here we'll tell you to go defend while he sits comfortably on his lazy boy. Wick will also tell you, fuck ICE in his opening statement. But hold on, are we defending these PDF aisles that ICE had came over to take out of the country? Apparently, that's what he's doing. He would rather have these people and criminals in the country than ICE deport them and get them out because police don't have the jurisdiction and they can't do it themselves. Anyways, I'm anxious to get forward into this argument and see what his arguments are because I'm anxious to get into this whole debate. Let's continue to proceed. I end there.
All right. Appreciate it. All right. So, Wick, why do you disagree with what it is that he just said?
So I guess you can cite all the deportation numbers you'd like, and Trump could deport millions of people. That does not matter if in the process of doing it, he makes everything worse. If our First Amendment rights and our Fourth Amendment rights and our Eighth Amendment rights are eroded in the process of getting rid of illegal immigrants, then I think that we are worse off because we can deport whoever we like, but those erosions will always remain. We live in a system where precedent governs how we do things. And when you set precedent that the executive by fiat can simply ignore the courts and also override the Constitution that we have in place, the Bill of Rights, to protect us from the government, it puts us all in danger. I'm not here saying don't deport anyone. I'm not here defending illegal immigrants. I'm defending your rights, my rights, everyone's rights. Deport all the illegals that you want, and you can. You just have to do it properly, and Trump is not.
Yeah, you made a lot of assertions, empty assertions. You're saying, just trust me, bro, is not a source.
I have
I'm not
plenty of
gonna buy
examples
that.
for each.
Yeah, we can go into that, and I'm anxious to actually dive into these
Okay.
examples that you have. I'm just going to say this. Isn't it embarrassing that you call real enforcement negative while ignoring that Trump's ICE quadrupled daily arrests? These are criminals that we're talking about, which go in conjunction with the deportations that we have. Hunted criminals in communities, which this is more targeted than the last two administrations that we've had, and made America safer. While your side let predators walk free, that's crazy. How do you reconcile this?
So one of the things that Trump's ICE is doing is that it's allowing people, pedophiles, thieves, and things, instead of going to jail, or if they are in jail, they will release them from jail early and they'll deport them. Okay? Do you support pedophiles being released from jail before they have served their sentence?
I support anybody being deported if that's the ultimate
So
action.
you
that's
would
gonna
let
happen. If
a
they weren't-
pedophile out
if
of
they weren't
jail
documented, I
early
support the
after they served, say,
deportation
a
of these
year.
people.
Say a year in jail. ICE comes, says, hey, this guy's here in the country illegally. We need to deport him. So they take him out of jail. They put him on a plane. They send him to his home country. And they just let him free.
Yeah.
You'd support that?
Their problem, not ours.
That is wild to me. I want pedophiles to serve their time in jail.
No.
All of it. I don't want
No,
them
because
released early.
You want them to siphon our tax dollars in jail and us to house and shelter them and control and custody when they could do that in their own damn country? No, we're actually getting rid of the problem and not babysitting it. I think that's a more viable solution and better for the country. These are your tax dollars, right? The longer they stay, the more we have to pay for. Do you understand how long and how much it takes to house a inmate in a prison?
I think that the costs are worth it to keep pedophiles off the streets.
$32,000 a year is worth it when we can get rid of the problem altogether, thus saving taxpayers thousands of dollars and also reducing increasing officer safety, because that's one less person that's going to grape somebody on the yard.
Okay.
That's also this too.
But it's
Yes.
one more person who will be on the streets of their home country preying on children there. I don't want to release pedophiles anywhere. I would like them to be in jail
Whick.
for as long as we can keep them there. And it's weird
This
to me
logic
that
makes
you're
no
arguing to release pedophiles early. That's a weird argument.
Does every PDF aisle have a release date?
Some are in there for life, I'm assuming.
Most of them aren't in there for life unless they murdered somebody.
Sure.
So that's the case in point. Matter of fact, every PDF aisle that you have has a release date. And matter of fact, in America, it's like 7 years is the average, which means they're going to be released in 7 years after using all of our tax money and everything else, only to be deported. The end result that I alluded to, only we're going to save money and do the same thing we would have did in the interim in the end anyways. Your example doesn't make any
sense. When we charge someone
sense.
with a crime and we serve them a sentence, and it behooves us to force them to serve their entire sentence. I don't want them released early. Even if it's not into American streets, I want to protect the kids in Guatemala. I want to protect the kids in Venezuela. I want to protect the kids in Uganda. I don't want pedophiles on their streets, and I don't want to release them early. But this is almost beside the point. And it boggled my mind. If I may finish just real quick, it boggled my mind that you're arguing for releasing pedophiles before they've served their time. That's an argument you can make. But are you okay with ICE agents breaking into homes without judicial warrants?
Yeah, that's another empty assumption you're making right now. While there may be stark coincidences and stark cases that this happened, it's not the overwhelming case. Matter of fact, in Obama's administration, we have 56 deaths, more than Trump's ever had at ICE's hand. Now let's get back to the extra.
No, that's not true.
Criminals.
The 2025, there were, I believe, 73 deaths in ICE custody. That is the most that they've ever had, and that's 2025 under Trump.
So, okay, we can cite this, but 37 of them were justified automatically, and the others were questionable. We can say that, but if you're citing justified deaths, that doesn't move the needle in this argument. Let's get back to extraditing criminals.
I'm correcting something that you said, where you said that 56 people died under ICE under Obama. And I'm just showing you how you're wrong.
There are lawful deaths that happen when we're chasing criminals. Now, if Trump is doing a really good job and we're apprehending criminals, don't you think in the arrest there's going to be a rise of prominent deaths that happen that are justified? Right. You omit the chat. Matter of fact, if you pay attention to this, notice how he omits the fact that 37 of these deaths were definitely justified. The other parts of the deaths, we can say are questionable, but definitely justified, and all these officers were cleared after these investigations. So now that that's debunked and we can move on for that,
we
can
talk
about
move on
extraditing
because
criminals
this is
from the
important.
nation.
When you say that these ICE agents aren't being held accountable, that they're being let off, that's part of the problem.
They are being held accountable.
One of the issues that we're having, and that I have with ICE, and that goes to my argument of why everything's worse right now because of ICE, is that these officers are not being held accountable for their bad actions. I'll give you one example, right?
I'd love to hear it. You've said all this.
Well,
and
let
no
me give you the
example
example, and I can give it to you.
Go ahead.
Under
go ahead. I'd
Chicago,
love to hear.
when during the Midway Blitz, when Trump sent all those ICE officers to Chicago, much like they have in Minneapolis, they shot a woman 5 times. Okay, the guy who did it, right? They said that she rammed their car into them, and so they charged her. She survived, thankfully, and they charged her, right, with endangering the lives of ICE agents and things like that. Turns out, though, when the body cam footage was released, that ICE had lied, that DHS had lied, so they had to drop the case. And then the officer who did it, the officer who lied, the officer who rammed her and then shot her 5 times and then texted it after that, 5 bullets, 7 holes, put that one in your books, boys. He is still serving on the force. Nothing happened to him. So how
Wick,
can
I'll
we
ask you a
trust an
question.
organization that doesn't hold its agents who violate the law accountable?
Okay. Wick, can I ask you a question? What does the prompt say? What's the prompt for this debate?
The
Just wanna
prompt is
ask.
Trump under ICE under Trump. Sorry, ICE under Trump is a net negative for America. Net positive. I'm taking the net negative. position
Oh,
for
okay.
America.
Hold on real quick. So if we're talking about a net negative, it's okay to point out one case example, maybe even a few anecdotes or things like this, but we're talking about totality. In
Yes.
totality, no. Even if you point out
This
one
is a
case
pattern of
where
behavior.
somebody hold on real quick. Just pointing out one doesn't exhibit a whole totality of ICE bad or negative. Matter of fact, this would even be a worse debate if I even said this for Biden or Obama. We wouldn't say it's a net negative. That's an asinine statement to make because ICE is just a tool at the behest of somebody who's head part of the administration. I don't even think that I can even argue it's a net negative under Obama or Biden. Matter of fact, I think they've done more positive than not positive. Even under both administrations, I'll even concede that.
Do you
So
think
I
that
don't-
the do you
I
think that
don't
the
see how you could see how it's a
policies?
Well,
negative
let me
even
ask you
under
a question
Trump.
real quick. Let me ask you a question real
I got
quick,
it.
Marte. If he was to make the case that it was a net negative, how would he do that then?
He would have to say that not only this, but there's some collusion, meaning like some overarching premise, and then show me numbers. Like there's 2 ways we can go about this. He can show me numbers saying that there are probably there's more damage happening as a result of ICE and deportations than arrests and maybe the lawful pursuit of their duties ending in succession of maybe some success that they've had. He'd have to demonstrate that somehow. But you
So
see
if
how
there is a
improbable
pattern of
this prompt is
behavior,
for him to win?
just real quick, there's a pattern. My argument, and I think that there's plenty of data for this. We can go through it. Is that ICE as policy has exhibited a pattern of behavior where they violate people's constitutional rights. They lose their court cases. Remember, in the Midway Blitz, the conviction rate they have. Well, let me just ask you, what do you think the amount of people who in Chicago were arrested for like obstructing ICE or something like that? They made about 32. They made a bunch of arrests, but they made 32 cases went to court. How many of those do you think resulted in a conviction? Just give me a guess.
So you're talking about the arrests that
Yeah, they arrested a guy
underneath.
who they accused of there's various crimes right here, but most of them were like obstructing ICE. Like they were getting in the way of the ICE, they were threatening ICE officers, they were resisting arrest, things like that. There's 32 cases that went to court. How many resulted in conviction? What would you guess? Just to let you know, the federal overall
Well,
rate for these
I
things
can
is
answer
about
that.
90% conviction rates.
I can answer that. So if we have an active investigation such as like Operation Metro Surge, where a woman drove all the way from Missouri down to here for some reason, which is odd enough to park her car in the middle of
I'm
the
asking you
street
for
and do all this.
what your guess is on a conviction rate. They've taken 32 cases to court in Operation Midway Blitz. How many of them resulted in a conviction so far?
I would say a high number of conviction because when HSI does
Would it
anything as far
surprise
as,
you
like,
to know
conviction,
that
we have to
the
have a
current
solid case
conviction
to even
rate in those
it has
cases
to be open and
is
shut.
0%? Would it surprise you to know that DHS in the cases that they have brought in Midway Blitz, that have finished, about 16 out of the 32 have finished, would it surprise you to know that 0%, none of them, not a single one, has resulted in a conviction because ICE and DHS are so incompetent at their jobs that they can't even arrest a single obstructor and get their
So hold on.
conviction? Do you
Hold
think
on,
that
that's
that
a
is
fallacy,
good
actually.
overall for the justice system
That's
in
a
America?
fallacy. Do you understand that? Do you understand that sometimes it's really not worth the paperwork? And I can break this down to you. So if I've ever busted somebody on the street when I was in law enforcement and the crime was like less than $100, we just let them go because it's not even worth the paperwork. It's not worth the time.
I'm not
It's not
talking
worth
about
the
them
court fees or
being
any of
let
this other
go.
stuff.
I'm not talking about the ones that they let go. I'm talking the ones that they bring up to the court in
That's
charges
not-
and press
hold on,
charges
hold on,
that the
hold on, hold on.
prosecutors bring to trial.
Doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. Even if
Why
we
is
do
this
stop
irrelevant?
somebody and we apprehend
Because
them,
my argument
it has
here-
to be a deterrent to some degree by stopping them and showing the public as a show of force to say, hey, we can't allow that here. Even if we demonstrate that, even if there's no conviction, it's good to stop somebody, move them out of the way so we can proceed with an investigation. In fact, if we're there during Operation Metro Surge and getting somebody who violated a 14-year-old, why would anybody impede that and stop that? Oh, yeah, that's right, because you guys are obstructionists.
The problem
not
is
protesters.
DHS
Let's get the
is
facts straight on that.
lying about all of these things. DHS has a pattern of lying not only to the American public, but to the courts.
You haven't shown
And
a
the
pattern.
evidence,
You showed one
one of the
case
evidence
study,
is
one
I
case
have
result.
of this, and I have many, is that they have a 0% conviction rate in Midway Blitz. Do you know why? It's because the cases either get thrown out or they are found to have lied during their prosecution.
If we have a 0% conviction rate for people who are legal citizens, that doesn't
I'm
move
not
the
talking
argument
about
in
just
your favor
citizens here.
because we're talking about ICE's purpose is to get illegal citizens off the streets and have conviction rates for illegal citizens. I don't care about legal stuff. What we're doing is a stopgap. If we take them off the street temporarily and don't convict them, I don't even care because that doesn't even make your case. We're talking about their purpose is for getting illegal citizens and even criminals off the street. Are they not doing that?
They're not doing it properly. They are violating people's constitutional rights when they do that.
So your argument is I'm going to bring up legal citizens, which has nothing to do with ICE's purpose at all, to say that, hey, they're not doing their job. That's not their job.
That's a great point. I shouldn't be detaining
Whick.
these legal citizens, should they? And yet they are. And yet in Trump's second term, in 2025, they have wrongfully arrested, and these are just the ones deemed wrongfully arrested or detained over 170 American citizens. That is far too much.
Yeah, sure. You'll see even one is far too many, but I think it's good if you can remove the temporary obstruction off the street so we can continue our investigation after the real criminals and real illegal immigrants. I think it's a stopgap solution.
Criminals?
And I support
The
it
only
100%.
look under Trump, the amount of ICE arrests involving violent criminals is only 14%. The rest that they're arresting, 86% of them, have no accused or convicted of a violent crime. 86%.
How long has Trump been in office in this administration as opposed to Biden's last in totality?
What does that have to do with my
point? We're just starting again, so we haven't seen the end result of his deportations and criminal arrest, right?
We don't need to see the end result to know that what they are currently doing and what they have done so far is bad.
Totality? So 4 months worth of data is just the whole totality.
It's not just 4 months of worth of data. We've had a year's worth of data at this point.
Oh, hold on. I'm just saying this right now. So you're only going to get this amount of data and compare it to the whole administration term of the president before us.
I'm comparing ICE's actions with what they are legally allowed to do, and they are breaking the law, sir. My, again, argument is that they are eroding our civil liberties by violating our First Amendment rights and Fourth Amendment rights, and that is making America a worse place overall, not just for immigrants, but for everyone. Right. That is the thrust of my argument, sir.
Let's kind of slow this down a bit real quick. Because you
go as slow as you need.
Where you cite one case where a person says he shot somebody, body cam proved this wrong, and then you're citing that there's a pattern when you cite one incident where we can go down the other incidents, but in totality as a net negative, right now you have yet to move the needle on net negative. If overwhelmingly the deportations are up, the criminal arrests are up, even if it's a less than significant amount, 40%, they're still doing a grandiose job. right now, and the year's not even up yet. We're just beginning started with ICE and their amazing job that they're doing right now. Because right now, when you say net negative, we're talking about totality. I'm not seeing that right now when you're citing cases. The fact that, and here's, I'm going to tie this up real quick. If you can cite 7 cases, the reason why these 7 cases stand out is because of the rarity and circumference to the totality of the good that ICE is doing in general. Right.
Okay. So the problem with your line of thinking is that I am not willing, just because they can get high numbers, to erode our civil liberties. Yes, it turns out when you don't need a warrant to break into people's homes, you can get a little bit more arrests. But there is a very good reason why we have rules and regulations in place and laws and constitutional rights to protect us against the government for doing these things. It is meant to be hard for the government to break into your home. They are meant to go through hoops in order to do that. And when we remove these protections, it allows the government to abuse us. And I think that that is a worse America to live. Here, I'll do this.
I'd love
I
to
don't
see
know
this
how long
breaking
it's.
into
Let me
homes
finish just real quick.
without a warrant.
Hold on. Let me finish, please.
Can you demonstrate that? Because that's an assertion you just made. We're breaking into
Yes.
homes without
Again,
warrants.
there was a whistleblower report just a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago, where ICE, and I mentioned this earlier, ICE circulated amongst its members a memo, okay? It was a secret memo. They hid it from the public. They hid it from
Can I see that?
investigators and things like that. I can bring you the
You have it?
whistleblower report if you'd like. But basically
I'd
what
love
they
to
were
see that right
saying
now
and
because
what they
it's
were
just empty
circulating, let me
assertions
finish.
you're making right now.
Hold on.
Go ahead, Wick finish real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
What they were circulating, because I'm answering your question, right? What they were circulating was a report and a memo, basically, that said you don't need a judicial warrant to break into people's homes. You can just do it. They were using administrative warrants to do it, which what an administrative warrant is it's a warrant, quote unquote, that another ICE agent signs. It bypasses the judicial process altogether. It is illegal, right, to break into people's homes using just an administrative warrant. It is against the Fourth Amendment. And they were telling their agents that they had this ability to do it, but they did not have the ability to do it. And so this has been a common practice that the ICE agents have been engaged in, not just in Minnesota, but across the country, where they've been breaking into private residences, businesses, apartment buildings without a warrant. And when the people asked to see a judicial warrant, they are said, we don't have to show you this. There are plenty of examples of this. Again, it's a pattern of behavior.
So hold
it's
on.
a policy that they are engaged in that is, again,
Let's get
just
straight to the
violating
point.
people's Fourth Amendment rights.
Let's cut through the bullshit. I'll ask you a question real quick. Can you have civil liberties if you don't enforce them?
No, that's why it's when.
You can't have
Hold
civil
on.
liberties
When our
unless
civil
you
no,
enforce them.
you're that's a great
Oftentimes,
question.
Is it not the case?
Hold on, let's dwell. Hold on, let's dwell on that question for a moment. Right? Yes, you have to enforce civil liberties,
Right.
otherwise
There
they go
has to
away.
be
So
enforcement, otherwise
when this
civil liberties do not
administration
exist.
does not enforce our civil liberties, it's like we don't have them. When the government is able to just violate our civil liberties with no repercussions, which is what ICE is doing,
Hold
it is
on,
like
Wick.
we don't
Hold on,
have
Wick.
them. Do you want to live in America without civil liberties,
Civil
sir?
liberties of PDF files are
Everyone
illegal.
gets
Do they
civil
have
liberties.
The same civil liberties. As
Civil
somebody
liberties are
legal
for
living here?
everyone.
Hold on, real quick.
Yeah,
So
Mart.
illegal liberties have-
Wait. Hold on. Wait. Marte, because like we are everybody that we're talking about are going to be criminals in some way, even if they're here illegally. They're going to be criminals in some way. But the Constitution and the way that the law is set up in our country
I
does set
understand
it up
that,
to
but
where
there's
we
a point
would
I'm
want civil
getting to.
liberties for people, or like even due process for people who commit the most heinous crimes. Right? You agree with that? Yes.
So I agree with that to some extent. However, there has to be a caveat and some gray area for immediacy when it comes to certain circumstances, when we have PDFs that are violating 13 and 14-year-olds and actually murdering. Matter of fact, one of them during Operation Metro Surge was an active, I would say this guy had murdered somebody. And for us to apprehend him, guess what's going to happen? Sometimes in law enforcement, blind eyes have been turned. But if we're going to fight these people and take them off the streets and they do not legally belong here, I would say that sometimes these things are going to happen. I'm not justifying this as a whole. I'm just saying.
Well, to be
there's a
clear, hold
PDF.
on. The what Marte, you were giving examples earlier of people who were in prison and they're like getting them out of prison. And in those cases, that would make sense. But when we're talking
Yeah.
about people who are not already locked up, where do you think where is it that we would degrade one's civil liberties for somebody who is not currently incarcerated?
So, would you believe that in lieu of carceration, like let's say in approaching somebody, are we en route to take away a lot of their rights in apprehending the person? That's the purpose of us apprehending them, so that way they can have a reduction of rights in our control and care and custody of this person, so that we can do whatever we need to. There's going to be a little bit of gray area, but however, the law is very black and white on this. There are
Well,
going
look,
to
can
be
I
civil
ask-
liberties, like you can't you can't shoot somebody in the back for no reason. You can't shoot somebody in the face for no reason. You can't take somebody's life away for no reason. There has to be justification. That's why there's use of force boards, Wick. By the way, back to this. There are investigations where these officers have been cleared. Now, although you can say things like, DHS, we had a director. Her name was Linda, matter of fact, and she came from DEA. She was outsourced from HSI. And matter of fact, to get in here, we have third-party people representation that come in and do these internal use of force boards when they come in. And it's like the seven-headed dragon's looking at you. So it gets cleared. So when you say things like they're not investigated, they always are. Use of force
They are not.
allegations are always
I think
investigated.
that the DHS is lying to you.
No, they're not lying. I've literally
They are
been in
lying.
these, but
Well,
we
let
don't
me
have to
just
go
ask
by
you: Do you
what
think
I'm
that
saying.
do you think that DHS was being honest when they said that Alex Preddy was intending to massacre cops?
You mean a guy that carried
So
two
this is what
magazines
I'm
and
just
a-
going
and
to
a-
read you the post that they made when Alex
The guy who
Preddy was
kicked out
shot, and I'm just going to read this portion, right?
Well, I don't know if
The
we
guy who
need to
was
read the post.
unstable.
I think we all know the what it is that they said. But Marte, when you say the guy who carried two magazines, do you believe
No,
that was
it's
why he
lawful
carried two
for him
magazines?
to
Is he
do
wanted
this,
to?
but hold on, Tom. We have to be able to build a case here. Now, the guy's
No, hold
mom
on, stop.
said that he
You
was
haven't answered my
unstable.
question. I
He
need you to
quit
answer
his
my
job.
question.
His
It's a very
job
Yeah,
simple
we're-
yes or
wasn't
no
go-
question.
his-
Please,
He was
please.
so mentally
Wait,
unstable,
yeah,
he
Marte,
had to leave his
Marte,
job.
hold
Was
on.
DHS
Marte, hold on.
being
It is that we would want you to answer the question before you build
Yes.
a case. You would want to
DH
make
Go ahead.
the
hold on, just
statement
let me
first.
ask the question again so people can remember. When DHS said that Alex Preddy was intended to do maximum damage and massacre law enforcement, were they being honest?
I can't confirm or deny that.
Okay.
We'll never know because he got shot.
What evidence would suggest that he was intending to do maximum damage and massacre law enforcement?
Okay, we can build a case on this by saying that the guy was terminated from his job because of mental instability. His mom even told him, I wouldn't do this if I were you. That's a bad decision. And then not to mention this, he showed erratic behavior before this, kicking the tail light of a car out. Erratic behavior, mind you. And this guy didn't even carry a license when he brought his gun. Whenever you have your gun with you, you're supposed to have a license or some identifier. Didn't even have, the guy was just all over the place. So the erratic behavior leading up to this showed that there's some instability that no normal citizen would ever exhibit leading up to this. Would you not agree that?
Okay, I don't normally do this, but just to be clear, there was an article that came out that said that he was fired from his job, he was mentally unstable, that he had been inappropriate with patients. His parents said that he was acting erratically. That was a fake article. It was
No, I didn't get
like
it
a
so
fabricated article.
his
He was
mom had said
currently
that.
I mean,
employed.
yes.
No,
That's
no,
from
is that
his
he was
mom.
currently employed. He was currently employed with the nursing home still, with the VA nursing home still when he
The VA
died.
had came out and said this, and also his mom had collaborated.
You're just
stories on this
that's
lawsuit. Why
also
would
a
his-
lie, by the way.
I,
Like,
I,
Oh,
I,
both
I'm
of these
telling
things,
you,
just
the
to be clear,
article that
hold
they
on,
both
Wick,
published
hold
is
on.
not
both
what
of
Let's get this
DHS's
straight.
statement here and that article that you just cited were
hold
lies.
On. No, hold on.
You're
Wick.
basing your arguments on things that are not true.
Oh no, hold on. Why would his job and his mom lie? You're saying his mom
Okay,
and his job lie?
His mom and his job didn't say that. Someone claimed that his mom and his job said that, but they were
there's a
lying.
statement from his mom. We can bring it up if you want.
Bring it up.
it would probably be best to pull it up.
Yeah.
Because
Just
yeah,
share
if we're
your
going to
screen or
use this as
something.
a claim for him being unstable and possibly going to do maximum
as he's
damage,
bringing
that
it
would
up,
be if that's
we
part
can
of your
we can
case
even look
that
at
you're
the thing that
building.
actually happened where he did kick out a taillight. It's interesting during that altercation, he had a gun on him, right? If he was intending to massacre law enforcement, he would have done it there, but he didn't.
Hold on, though. Well, if
He
you
also
are
had his
going
gun
to
on.
commit
Let
a
me finish.
crime-
He also had his gun on him.
Well,
during the
I don't want to
incident.
make another argument while he's looking this up. I do want to allow him to find it before
if
we
you are going to commit a crime,
go down another line.
I think even the most loony bin people wouldn't tell you what they're going to do before they do it.
Sure, go ahead and find that. For anybody who wants to ask questions, you guys can send donations in my chat through the tips link, or if you guys send them to either Whick or Marte as well through their channels, send them super chats and support their channels as well. They can send them over to me, and we'll
Yeah,
get those questions
here's the
asked
deal.
later towards the end as
and
well.
you can ask me questions as you want, right? As you get them in, but DHS has a pattern of lying, and they lie constantly, and they lie in ways that the public can see that they're lying. This is why public perception and public
Haven't
support for ICE has
demonstrated that
gone
yet.
off a cliff.
One case does not demonstrate a pattern.
Well,
I think he's just restating his position while we're waiting for you to
yes,
to find
and it's
the
not
source.
just one case. I can only give you one example at a time, but I can give you consistent examples over large periods of time where they do this. For example,
What does
another
net
shooting that happened
negatives-
in Minnesota was a
What's the
bunch of
definition of net
they
negative?
claimed that officer shot a man who was busy beating him with a shovel. But it turns out when the FBI affidavit came out, it turns out that they shot him when he was running away. DHS lied again. DHS constantly lies. They lied about the Renee Good shooting. They said in their initial statement that a violent rioter weaponized her vehicle attempting to run over law enforcement officers in an attempt to kill them. But when we reviewed the video, it's clear that she wasn't intending to kill him at all and instead was turning away from him. The evidence in every single case, again, contradicts what DHS says. And this isn't just in the courts of public opinion, it's in actual courts. Their cases get thrown out by judges because DHS is lying, right? And this
No,
happens
cases
all
don't
the
get thrown
time.
out because people are lying. Cases get thrown out because of time and money. That's the main reason why cases get thrown out.
Not in
because
this
of lying.
case. Not
No,
in the
no,
case
you
of
haven't even
DHS
demonstrated
under
that.
Trump.
You haven't even demonstrated that. Matter of fact,
What do you-
that's
okay,
the reason why a lot of people-
Judges have
that is
said
part of the
this.
debate. But again, hold on. We need Marte. If you are you looking for the source currently?
Yes,
Because
yes, actively doing
I
that.
do
multitasking.
have a couple of fact checks here who do say that it's incorrect and that the family did come out making statements otherwise. But
I did have something bookmarked. Looking for that right now. It's a specific bookmark.
Okay. DHS, right, goes before the court and they have habeas petitions levied against them by people who've been detained who think that they don't deserve to be detained, that they're being detained improperly. And so they bring these habeas petitions before the court. The court awards, right? They grant the habeas petition. They say this person has been detained illegally or improperly and needs to be released. DHS delays their release by weeks in certain cases, and in other cases, they'll simply ignore the court. And this is a problem.
okay, real
that-
quick. I'll just read this so that he can hear it. I have fact checks from numerous sources. This is from a Google overview. It says reports suggesting that the family of Alex Preddy stated that he was unstable or that he was fired from the VA are false and fabricated, originating from spam or fringe websites. Family denounces the lies. Alex Preddy's family has publicly denounced statements from the administration and others as sickening lies and reprehensible and disgusting, emphasizing that he was a good man. The employment status was that Preddy was employed as an intensive care registered nurse at the Minneapolis Veterans Affairs Medical Center at the time of his death. He was not fired for misconduct.
Hold on real So I have the exact statement. I'm just looking for the source on this.
Well, do you deny that that fact
Because I
check's
know
true, man?
No, I did. I just don't know where the bookmark went because my computer's on the fritz. My audio had went out, and I had deleted a bunch of stuff trying to get on the stream with you today on this debate. So give me 1 second. I know that. So the statement was like this, and it came from his mom. She had said, we had this discussion with him 2 weeks ago or so. You can go ahead and protest, but don't do anything stupid. Like already her mom's telling her
Did you not hear what Tom just read?
Yeah, I heard what Tom
The
just said.
statement that he just made is a different statement, saying that she just told him not to do anything stupid at the protest. Very different from whether or not he was unstable, which I believe was the claim.
Oh, so hold on. If we're going to piece together a case of a guy kicking out taillights, spitting on cops, and jumping in front of people in the middle of an investigation, so even if we omit that, like let's say we omit that because I don't know where the bookmark went, but let's get back to this. I'm anxious to get back to this. Even if we omit this, Tom, and none of that happened, do you think that him spitting on cops or agents and then kicking out taillights, and then his mom basically saying, well, don't do anything stupid in the lead up to this, and then bring an active firearm to a really heated scenario, do you think that's pretty stable, normative?
Well, that's why I think Whick brought up the same argument earlier, saying that he had been in a scenario 11 days before this, and that he was also attacked by cops in that scenario, also had the
And he
firearm
didn't
on
shoot
him.
anyone.
And in that scenario, didn't shoot anybody, didn't hurt anybody, and they ended up getting up and leaving him and walking away. And so he's saying that in this scenario, yes, he may act erratically, he may hit cars and things like that, but there wasn't any evidence to say that he would have done maximal damage as DHS.
In fact, there's
had
evidence
said.
that he did not intend to do that. For if he had the means, but he forbore from doing so. And so, again, Homeland Security in this instance, and in many others, lied to the American public. Do you at least concede that?
Say that again, because my audio had kind of
Sure.
went out.
In this instance, when DHS said that he tended to do maximum damage and massacre law enforcement, they lied to the American public. You can see that that's a lie.
I mean, I can't even engage with that and say that it's a lie.
If you can't engage to say that that's a lie, can you
Hold on.
admit that the sky is blue?
We lost your audio.
We lost your audio, buddy.
We lost Marte. We lost your audio. Your mic's out.
Wonderful. This is the competency of ICE, gang.
All right.
Oh, well, say again?
We heard you for a second.
Now?
You're cutting in and out a little bit. Try one more time.
Can you now? A little bit.
Give me a full
Testing,
sentence.
1 2 1 2.
It seems better. Okay, go ahead and try.
Testing 1 2 1 2.
Yeah, go ahead and make your argument or give your response again.
Yeah, go ahead, Whick. You were saying something.
I'm asking.
No. Marte, you were.
Yeah,
you
were
were
trying to respond to me, but I
saying
didn't hear you.
I really hate these technical difficulties that I'm having. Literally, it just erased a bunch of shit from my computer. My audio's fucking up. So I apologize for the tech issues on my end. This normally doesn't happen.
If you want Whick to repeat his argument, he can.
Yeah, go ahead, Whick.
Sure. My argument overall is that DHS has a pattern of lying. I gave you one example. We can go through more where they lie to the public. They lie to the courts. They disobey the courts. They're found in contempt of court. This is not an organization that has the best will of the people in mind, and you can't trust anything that they say or do because they have continuously shown that they are willing to ignore the courts and that they're willing to lie to the American public. And this erodes, tie it into my overall argument, is this erodes trust in institutions, making America a worse place overall.
This is a case of like one bad apple spoiling everything, and that you're trying to make.
You keep saying one bad apple, but I keep giving you multiple examples.
So No, you gave one example, and the Alex Preddy example is not even a good example because we can.
I gave you
another
Alex
debate,
Preddy.
that
I
would
gave
be a
you
whole different debate.
Renee Good. I
That would be
gave
a
you
whole different
the
debate, Alex
evidence,
Preddy
the
justification.
example of them shooting that guy that was beating him with a shovel, and where they lied about that. I gave you 3.
No, you're just okay. Trust me, bro, is not a source. Once again, I haven't seen one source. I try to actually look for mine. I have plausible.
I can pull up these tweets. I can send them to Tom Foolery to pull up.
No, I
if
don't
you'd
want
like.
tweets.
Hold on. Wait.
want
Hold
tweets, I
on.
want facts.
Marte, hold on. Wait, Marte. What of what he stated when you're asking for sources? What is it of what he said? What is it that you would like him to source?
Okay, I don't want like tweet because anybody can just put up a tweet. I want like fact-finding outcomes. Like, let's say that there was an investigation, and I want from like the Department of Justice, some bureau, basically stating that, hey, you know what, it went through these proper channels, and yeah, in fact, ICE was lying about this.
So you
Not
want
a tweet from a random 16-year-old or anything like
Okay,
that.
I'm not talking. I'm talking about would a tweet from DHS Gov be okay?
Yeah,
Department
sure,
of
go ahead.
Homeland
DHS.gov.
Security.
He said sure.
Oh, okay. Here's the one where they lie about Alex Preddy, and I'll just DM it to you. Give it a second. Hold on, let me bring up my Discord.
So, Wick, I'll even ask you a question. If ICE didn't exist,
There.
who would apprehend the PDF aisles
INS.
and extradite them out of the country?
The ICE is a relatively new organization. It was founded in 2003. The people who did it
That doesn't
before were
answer
the
question.
INS.
If
That's
ICE
who would
didn't
do it
exist,
again.
Who would do this duty?
Hold on. Clinton deported 12.5 million people. They were pretty fucking effective.
He said INS.
INS.
Okay, so you think that we should replace ICE with INS?
At this point, yeah.
Okay, so let's say
Okay,
we
the-
eliminate
the-
ICE.
Do you want me
Let's
to
say we
read the
eliminate ICE.
tweet from DHS?
That's up to him. He wanted a source on what the DHS was saying. I gave him one.
Yeah, let's go. Go ahead. Show me the
Okay.
source.
All right. So the
You
the
just share your
tweet
screen so we can all
says-
read it, right? If you want.
Okay. Go ahead and make your argument, Marte. It'll take me a second
go
to.
ahead.
Okay,
to pull
so
that
when
up.
you're talking about like net negative, I'm still looking for a totality here, not some sparse cases that you're bringing up. Because the whole reason why I asked if ICE was off the board, you said NIS would be doing this, right? Now, if ICE is now that ICE is doing this, they're ramping up these deportations and quite successful at this, and we're doing targeted investigations. That's being done, and I think that that's a great thing. You haven't disproved that, actually. You conceded that point to me when you're saying, okay, because of maybe, 7 cases where it's fraught with, rife with abuse, maybe. In 7 cases, this isn't one state. This is 7 in totality that you brought up, maybe. And I'm being generous and charitable by saying 7 cases. In the whole totality of the United States where ICE operates, because they operate in just jurisdiction Florida to California and everywhere in the Northern Hemisphere, that in the totality, they're in net negative. I haven't seen a strong case where I'm seeing where ICE should be taken off the map because they're net negative yet.
Okay, I just sent Tom Foolery a report from who is it, Senator Ossoff, of over 1,000 cases, and this is just in Trump's first term, first year, 2025, right? This is just 2025, 2026, because January, right? And this is just in detention centers. That's over 1,000.
Okay, let's touch
Is
on
that
this
enough?
one first. You guys have the share screen up.
To your point.
What do you mean it
You
doesn't
guys
say?
have the share screen up.
Okay.
Hold on, wait. Let's do one thing at a time.
One at a
Do you guys have the share screen up,
I do. Go ahead.
Marte?
Share screen. Yeah, I mean, I see the Homeland Security thing, but this post doesn't say that they lied.
Okay, so
This is the
hold on.
lie.
So it says it says this is from Homeland Security. This is their account. It has 2.9 million followers.
Okay.
It says at 9:05 a.m. CT, as DHS law enforcement officers were conducting a targeted operation in Minneapolis against an illegal alien wanted for violent assault, an individual approached U.S. Border Patrol officers with a 9mm semi-automatic handgun, seen here. The
Okay, so
officers
first of all,
attempted to disarm the
can we
suspect.
pause on that one? That is
Mhm.
deceptive, right? In the video, he had his
Wait,
gun
I'm still
holstered
waiting
the
for
entire time.
Where does it say that they confess that they themselves lied?
Okay.
Yeah, what real quick, what is the claim of the lie in this?
Yeah, that's
Before
what
we-
I'm waiting to
Okay,
see.
there's
the claim of the
several.
lie.
That is the first dishonest thing.
Okay,
Did-
can you
Hold
can
on.
you demonstrate how that's dishonest?
Yes, we can bring up the Preddy video, and we can look if he ever brandished his weapon.
This doesn't say
Marte,
anything
do you
about
agree
people
that
lying.
when they say that it doesn't say, he's saying the post is the lie. So
Yes, that's the
here
lie.
it says an individual approached U.S. Border Patrol officers with a 9mm semi-automatic handgun. So do you agree that when they say he approached with a gun, that this seems as though this is something that they were taking into account at the time when he approached, or does it sound like he just had one somewhere on his body?
You do understand the context of what they're saying right here, and that we can delineate.
Well, I'm asking you a
the
question
nuance
about
here.
that part real quick, because that's part of his
If
claim.
I'm a two-way carrying citizen and I'm holstered, I'm still approaching you with a gun, am I not?
Sure, but is
Right.
that
Yes,
the
but when I
implication is
approach,
that it's
hold on,
holstered?
this may
Right.
help.
Oh,
When
shit.
I
Now you're
approach
stretching the limits of
someone, I'm
credulity here.
technically approaching
This is
them with
crazy,
my
Whick.
dick. But if I told them I'm approaching this person with my dick, it puts a whole different spin on it.
How would they
While
still be
technically true,
lying?
is
Is your dick not
dishonest
attached
and
to your body?
deceptive in what actually happened.
How would they still be lying if you approached with it on your person? Would they still be
I
lying? No, they
just
wouldn't
explained
be.
it. If I say that I approached that, if I say that Tom approached that woman with his dick, and we look at
Hold
the
on,
video, and his
so
dick was in his
If I
pants,
approach
I'm
somebody with a
technically
knife
correct,
holstered,
but it is a
would that
deceptive
still be
way of
approaching somebody with a
speaking.
knife holstered?
Can you
If I
answer
have
my
a
If they've said
weapon on my
holstered, I think that
person-
is the disagreement, Marte, is that they didn't say holstered, and you're including the
They
term
don't have to
holstered
say
in
it's
your
holstered
statement.
to say that there was a weapon present on the person. It was on his person as he approached the volatile situation.
Okay, Wick,
that
was
he
there
inserted
a
himself in.
Yes.
Wick? Was there
The
a
next
second
line
part?
is
Yeah,
where it
another
says-
lie.
that doesn't
Okay.
allude to any lies
Okay,
that they're
so
making.
the very next line says the officer attempted to disarm the suspect, but the armed suspect violently resisted. More details on the armed struggle are forthcoming.
Yes.
We couldn't
Nowhere
get
in
his
that
hands
video
under
did he
control.
violently
It's
resist. He
resisting
never
arrest,
struck
yes.
violently at any of the officers in any of that footage.
So if I spit on
Do
an
I
officer,
need
is that
anything
still
else in this,
assault?
Wick?
Yes, almost every single line is a lie. They're all lies,
No, it's
right?
not. You haven't demonstrated where the lie is. I'm still
Yes,
waiting for that.
that is a
If I
lie.
spit
Can
on
you
an
show me where
officer-
he violently resisted the officers during
if
that
I
altercation?
spit on it, hold on. Do you understand that these circumstances could be written in paperwork like this? And I'll give you an example. If I spit on an officer, would I get charged with assault?
Did Alex Preddy spit on the officers?
Hold on. Can you answer the question? I'm just asking a simple question.
It's non-responsive, and it doesn't
It-
have anything to do with what we're talking
It
about.
does have a lot to.
Again,
and I'll show you
did
why
Alex
it has a
Preddy
lot to do
spit
with
on
this.
those officers? Did he
No,
violently
hold on.
resist?
Can you answer the question straight up? If I spit
Yeah,
on
Wick,
an officer,
he's
will I get
trying to
charged with
build a
assault?
case. If you'll
Say one
answer.
more
Yeah,
time.
he doesn't want to entertain with this. Please be good faith here, Wick.
His question is, if Alex Preddy had spit on an officer, would that be
A violent
or would
resistance?
that,
No.
call for? No, would
you're
that call for
framing this
charges of
differently.
assault?
Can you be straight up and answer?
Sure,
the
it could
question?
be.
Would that
It
still
could.
be
You
assault?
could say it's assault, but you'd never say it's violent resistance.
Right. Okay. Now follow this logic real quick. So if I had told somebody that I got assaulted on duty, how would that sound to somebody if I don't add the context? I was still assaulted and I charged somebody with assault. Granted, and I got spat on, but I charged somebody with assault.
So if you
I just
told
didn't
me
tell
that you
him I
got
got spat
assaulted on
on.
duty
Is
and I
that
found
still
out you just got
accurate?
spit on, I would think that you were being
Hold
a
on,
little dishonest with
is
me.
that
Yes.
Wick? On paperwork, is
Hold
that
on, I'm
still
answering you.
accurate that an officer got assaulted?
Okay, but again, let's go back to the point
Oh,
at
wait,
hand.
hold on. No,
Did
no,
Alex
hold on.
Preddy violently resist?
No, hold on. So it would follow the logic. If he's resisting and not, we can't get control over his hands, and he has a weapon. Is that not a volatile, violent situation?
It's not him violently resisting. No.
It is so
The
if I have a
it is
weapon and I'm
violent situation
resisting-
because the cops
Hold
are
on,
being
no,
violent to
hold
him.
on. We're getting into semantics here, and I love
I'm
this.
not getting into
But if you-
semantics. This is a direct
if you
claim.
have
You're
a
trying to play
weapon-
these fucky
hold on,
wucky
Wick.
word games,
If you
but
have
it's
a
not
weapon-
working. Hold on.
No, it
Everyone
is
can
working.
see. Hold it. Do you understand
If
how
I have
every
a
single
knife
person
and
in
I'm
my chat,
resisting, that's
in
violent.
Tom's
If I have
chat,
a
in
gun
your
and
chat,
I'm
can
resisting,
see that
that's
you are
violent.
lying right now? You are being dishonest.
No, I'm not lying. I'm
You are
going
Okay,
with
hold on,
absolutely being
hold on.
dishonest by
logic.
refusing to
Hold on,
engage.
hold on. Wick,
What you just
he
said
is
doesn't make any
he
fucking
is
sense.
making a semantic point over like what these terms mean. So he is talking about semantics. Marte, so what is your point here as far as the violence
My
goes?
point-
Violent resisting.
So if you spit on an officer, that would still be assault, even though if we look on its face, it would be appropriate to say that I was assaulted. Now it may sound like I would say hyperbolic to tell somebody that, but I don't give them the context of this. I still charge somebody with assault, and it sounds very violent. Now, if I say that the person was violently resisting and it's violent, anybody that has a weapon, whether it be a knife, a gun, a bat, or anything else, and they're resisting, it amps up the propensity for danger. That's violent. It wouldn't be as violent, right? Would you say that it's
Hold
way
on.
more violent if somebody has a weapon in resisting than non-armed in resisting?
No, it would not be more
Wait, hold
violent.
on. So it's not more dangerous
if you don't
to
use the
arrest somebody
weapon,
with a
it is
weapon.
not more violent.
It is more violent if they
No,
have
it
a
is
weapon
not.
that can kill you and you're
If you are
arresting them.
using
That's
a
the dumbest
weapon,
shit.
it is
Wick,
more violent. But if you
Wick, I
don't
know
use a
you're not this
weapon,
stupid.
it is not.
If you have a life-ending weapon nomenclature, a gun on you, and you're resisting, you just made the situation more violent. The fact that you're not admitting this is crazy and
Of course
asinine.
you haven't. Why would you?
This blows my mind, Wick, that you're not even admitting this. This is complete denial.
So you
on
think
your
that
part.
simply having a gun on someone's person necessarily means whatever you were doing
While
is more
resisting
violent
is
because you
violent,
have that gun
yes.
on them. So if I walk
Yes,
into
that's
a
violent. Yes, it
restroom,
is.
have I done that violently because I had a gun on me?
If
Is it more
anywhere where you
violent?
have a weapon, so
If
do you
I
have
go into a
CCW?
grocery
Wick,
store or a 7-Eleven
Wick.
or up to a person, am I now more violent simply because I have a gun on my person, whether or not they know I do?
Yes, you are. If there's a physical
That is
altercation,
insane. That is an
that
insane thing
situation
to
is more
say.
violent because of that. Yes.
That
it
is an
is.
insane
The
thing to
reason-
say. And it's
So, hold on. If
crazy
you-
how
Wick,
you're
I'll ask
simply
you a
trying to
question.
spin this into
Wick, no, I'm
anything
not
other than
spinning
what
this.
it
This
was.
is what this
We can
is
see the
claim.
video.
That is what
Alex
happened.
Preddy
Wick,
never violently
do you have a
resisted.
CCW?
Do I what?
Do you have a CCW?
A concealed carry weapon?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, when you get a CCW, they tell you that whenever you insert yourself into a situation, you need to act differently because it's perceived more violent. That's anybody that's a weapons holder, that's a concealed weapons holder. They'll tell you. Matter of fact, the two weapons that Alex Preddy didn't utilize were his 2 feet, and he could have walked away. He didn't do that, thus making the situation more volatile and violent. The fact
He
that you're
did not do
disagreeing
that.
with
Well, I
this
just
I
want
say
to
reality
clarify,
did that.
Marte.
is insane.
I do want to clarify, Marte. I've heard two separate arguments real quick, and I want to know which one it is that we're making. One of them was that this is more violent. The other one is that there would be the perception of violence. Obviously, the term violence means that you're using use of force to harm somebody, whereas like a gun could be like
No,
a
not
perception
necessarily.
of violence, whereas just having a gun wouldn't actually be use of force to harm somebody. Well, if you want to give a different definition, I would like to hear it, but I would assume that that's the definition that most people are using.
So what's your So Wick, I'll ask you, what's your definition of violence? Because we can look up that definition if you want to get into semantics.
Violence, the use of physical force to hurt, harm, or attempt to hurt or harm someone or something.
Oh, okay. So if he's resisting arrest with the intent to evade arrest or to evade apprehension, that's pretty violent. If you're resisting, is it not?
No.
That's an act of violence, right?
No, not unless you use physical force in an attempt to harm or hurt someone or something.
No, the intent. So hold on. That
You asked
doesn't
for
make
my
any sense.
definition of violence. That's my definition of violence, and that did not play out
Can violence
on
be
Alex
used?
Preddy's part during this altercation.
If you look at the secondary definition, it says strength of emotion or an unpleasant, destructive natural force.
So,
could be a
hold
behavior
on.
that
Let me
uses
get it
physicality
straight.
to
If I
resist
yell at
as well,
you,
too.
do you consider that me being violent with you? So if I'm being arrested
we're
by
talking about
cops
physicality
and I
here,
yell at
Wick.
those cops, am I violently resisting?
Well,
under your
no.
definition?
Wait, just to be clear, wait, Marte. The definition that you just gave was not about physicality. It was about emotions. You were talking about violent emotions. That was the second definition that you just read. That was about emotions. If you want to read it again, you can. Your mic is out again.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, so back to this. Was he physically resisting arrest because we couldn't get a hold of his hands?
No.
Or
he
are we
was not
talking about
physically
resisting arrest or
resisting arrest.
violence?
That is an act of violence. Now that if you have a gun, there's more potential there. So that's pretty violent now.
Okay. I'm
Well, that's
telling you.
Marte. That's what I brought up just a little bit ago. Is that you the definitions that you gave or the arguments that you gave? One was about whether or not it is violent. The other one was about whether or not there is a potential for violence. That's what I was
That is
asking you to
pretty
clarify.
violent.
Is because it knows.
So if I have a kid,
Okay, so real quick, hold on, Marte.
and I yank their
the
hand really
thing
quick,
that
is
we're
that
hold on,
violent?
Marte, hold on. The reason that we're getting stuck here is because the definition that Whick, you asked him for a definition earlier. You didn't seem to disagree with his definition. He gave a definition that included like a use of force to harm somebody. Now, the definition that you gave was about emotions. You didn't go back to that. So
No. I
either
can stay
we
on
would
the
have to
initial
have some
definition.
use of. Okay, so
can
we would
stay on
have
the
to
initial
have like a
definition.
use of. That's fine. So I'm saying though, in this scenario, in order for us to say that there's not just a potential of violence, but that there is violence, we would have to know where the use of force was
Let's
to
clear
harm
this up.
somebody.
Let's clear this up. So I'll even ask you a question, Wick. Can I violently yank my hand away from you if you're trying to drag me somewhere? Is that a violent act of violently yanking my hand away? Can I say that, and would that be inaccurate for me to say?
To violently yank your hand away if I'm trying to drag you somewhere.
Yeah,
You
would that
can,
be
but that
inaccurate to
implies
say
when
this?
you do that you're
Okay, so
harming
an act
me
of
somehow.
non-compliance and refusing directives, that would be, you can use an act of violence without intentionally
Okay,
wanting to
he did
harm
not do
somebody,
that
right?
during this
He did do
altercation.
that. He did do that. So
Where? Can you show me on the video where you consider hold on. Where you consider him
So you
to have
just demonstrated
violently
that you don't have
resisted
to have
arrest?
intention to hurt
Just
somebody
show
to
me
be
on the
violent.
video. Bring it up. There's plenty there, right? Maybe Tom can bring it up. But show me in the video where you think he violently resisted arrest.
You want me to
There's
pull up the
no
video,
time.
Martin?
Yeah, please do.
So okay, if I tell somebody, hey, I need you to lay down and comply with orders, and you're doing everything but doing that, and in the process, we're trying to actually create more officer safety by involving more bodies and resources on the scene, and you're still not actively complying and laying down, putting your hands behind your head, or anything like that on the video, guess what? And you have a gun, that creates a more volatile, violent situation.
Okay,
I
but
would
the
call that a
cops never
violent
did
arrest.
that. The ICE agents, the Border Patrol
Do you
agents,
have the
they never
audio?
did
Do you
that
have the
during this
audio on
altercation.
this? So if you're saying this, you must have heard the audio.
Did you?
No, you're the one making the assumption that you may have heard the audio on this.
You were saying that
You're saying
under
he
the
didn't do this.
impression
Can you
that
prove
he
didn't do that.
Hold on. I never hear a single time them ordering him down. In fact, they drag him back after they pepper spray him. When he gets pepper sprayed, he tries to help the lady up. They drag him back.
No, he didn't try to
They
help the
throw-
lady up.
He absolutely bring up the video. We're gonna have to bring
No,
up the video.
she
Can you bring up the
stood
video,
up.
Tom?
What happened was she stood
Yeah, I
up.
got it
She
right
was
here.
already up. Already. He put his arm
The
around
woman was on
her.
the ground when he. That was a different woman.
Yeah,
He's
just
talking
show the
about
video.
the
We
other
don't have
woman
to.
that
We
they
don't have
pepper
to,
sprayed.
to guess here. We can just watch.
So they're talking about this woman that he shoved to the ground.
Yes.
He's saying
He
right
gets pepper
here,
sprayed here.
this is where he goes to help her up.
He grabs her. Then they grab him off and drag him off, and then
Yeah.
throw him to the ground, and then beat him.
No, he wasn't thrown to the ground. He was placed on the
Okay,
ground.
replay it, show it.
Where's the throw? I'm waiting
Right
for the
there.
throw. Where's the throw? Oh, he wasn't thrown on the ground.
He was thrown to the ground, forced
no, he was
down,
gently escorted to the
beaten,
ground. You
and
can
then
see it right
shot.
now. Stop the cap. I don't see any hip tosses. I don't see any tossing. Nobody was thrown.
trying
Stop.
to-
You're lying to us in front of everybody, Wick.
You were saying that he wasn't thrown to the ground there.
Wait, where's the throw then? I'm waiting for the throw. Where's it at? He got pulled. Where's the throw? Okay, lying in 4K now. Now we can
Am
continue.
I lying
Wick.
here?
This
Is this
ridiculous.
a lie? When I say he was thrown on the ground, he was
He wasn't thrown.
forced down. He was beaten.
Oh,
and then he was
hold
shot.
on. So now it's forced. It's not.
He was thrown to the
anymore?
ground, forced down. This all happened.
He wasn't
thrown to the ground, forced down,
Wick,
beaten, and then
you have
shot.
2 eyeballs. I know your glasses are prescription. They must work, right? Hopefully, he wasn't thrown.
Okay, so real quick, I'm not sure what the disagreement on whether or not he was thrown is for. I don't know.
I don't
if
understand
this
either.
matters to the
And if it takes
the
3
argument much, but-
officers to detain this guy and get his hands under control, guess what? If he has a gun, that makes it a more volatile, violent situation.
But he is not doing the violence. They are doing the violence to him.
No. We're trying to get him under control.
Just show the whole thing until the
guy-
until the shooting part. Don't show the
No.
shooting part. But
So, you're making this sound like
tell
as
me
if
where
Freddie was
he's
the
violent
authority
here.
He wasn't. Freddie is not the authority here. There's a hierarchy. There's an active investigation. We're not going to kowtow and bow down to Freddie when he's the person that's in the way obstructing justice. That's crazy.
the whole point of why we're doing this is because my claim is that the DHS lied when they said that he violently resisted. And I want
Hold on,
you to
that's-
show me in the video where
You
it
can't
is
even
that
show me
you
he was
think
thrown.
he was violent.
He wasn't even thrown, so you lied about that, and you're
Okay.
accusing DHS.
I'm going to ask you again.
About lying.
Show me in the video where you think Alex Preddy was violently resisting arrest.
If we're pulling him and he's resisting and not complying with officer, he knew. Did he not know that these were agents he was
Wait,
dealing with?
Marte, hold on, Marte. The claim is that he is resisting. He's asking where he is resisting, and then you said if he is resisting, then XYZ. He wants to know where in the video that he's resisting. So
not just resisting,
I'll
violently
rewind
a little
resisting,
bit.
just to be clear.
Okay, so so I'll play again, and then Marte, tell me when to pause. Okay.
Yeah, right there, automatically. The guy put himself in a situation, and we had to pull him back. The guy obviously.
Where is he
tried to-
resisting? Where is he
if he's
resisting
holding
arrest?
onto
Is
her
the
jacket
question.
and we had to pull her off, there's resistance there. Matter of fact, the meaning of resistance is refusal to accept or comply with something, the attempt to prevent something by action or argument. Was that not what he was doing? I see that
No,
right there before
he
my
was
very eyes.
not.
He was. Hold on. If you rewind the tape, he's pulling on her
Rewind the
jacket
tape.
as
What-
they're
what?
pulling him. Does that not create resistance? Oh, still holding on her. Oh, we have to separate his arm from her jacket. That's resistance.
That is not
Oh,
violently
shit.
resisting arrest. You
That
said,
is
hold on, just to be
violently
clear, your claim
resisting
here.
arrest.
Your claim here is that because he still had a hand on her jacket, that you consider that violently a resisting arrest.
Yeah, I think I would actually agree with you if he didn't holster a weapon during the time or have any weapons on him, for sure. But it definitely changes
Hold
the
on.
case.
What about
If we're
him
looking at
having
this-
a weapon makes his hand on her coat a violent resisting arrest, whereas if he didn't have a weapon, it would not be
had a
a
weapon.
violently resisting arrest?
He had a weapon during this resistance. Did he have it holstered on him?
Yes, it's a holstered weapon at this time.
Or
it's
was his
still
other
holstered.
hand, was it free to grab it at any time while he was resisting physically with the other hand?
What do you mean?
Oh, shit, Wick.
What? Hold on. What do you
bad.
think you just did there?
So when he was resisting being pulled by the ICE agents because he wouldn't comply, holding onto the jacket, his other hand was free while he had an active weapon. Do you think officers would approach you differently if you had a holstered weapon as opposed to if you were unarmed?
We
Do you
aren't
think that the two
talking
officers
about how the officers will react. We're talking
Hold
about whether
on.
or not that constitutes violent resist of arrest.
That's a violent resistance of arrest if you have a
Okay.
gun on you.
I-
You're going to perceive that as
I'll
violent.
just let the audience just
as
watch
violence.
it, and they can decide for themselves whether or not
Yeah, they can
they
definitely
think that's
decide
a
on this, but I'm
violent
telling you
resisting
right
arrest.
now-
He is not harming anyone. He is not attempting to harm anyone.
You've
He at no
already-
point
you've already
reaches for his
conceded that you don't
weapon.
have to harm
At no
somebody to be
point
violent.
does he harm any of these officers. All he is doing is trying to help a
No.
lady up. He gets dragged again,
So hold on. When I
dragged
give you a
to the ground,
hypothetical-
thrown to the ground.
Hold on,
They
hold
sit
on.
on him.
Marte,
they
let him
beat him,
finish real quick.
and they shoot him in the head.
Okay, so
the
Marte,
back.
I'm
Might
gonna
have been
let
the
you
head.
give a final statement on this part of it, and then we'll go
Oh,
back
me?
to the tweet real quick. We do want to try to get through this
Sure.
tweet as quick as possible. So Marte, go ahead.
Yeah, so here's the thing though, is like if you have two suspects and an officer approaches, one's holstered, the other isn't, the report's gonna look dramatically different during the arrest if somebody resists. We can definitely be justified to say that was a violent arrest because of the optics, perception, and because of the fact that there's increased danger in this volatility of this arrest, as opposed to like the other person was being arrested, and maybe if they were resisting, we could still put violent arrest because the fact that they were resisting, that's an act of violence. Matter of fact, if you're resisting and you're holding on a jacket, I violently pulled you away while you were violently opposing this. That's an act of violence in itself, definitionally. You don't, and matter of fact, you've already conceded the fact that you don't need to outwardly state that you're intentionally wanting to hurt somebody for anything to be violent. You've already conceded that already. Now, moving back to this, I'd love to see where DHS is lying about this on the tweet.
Okay, so so that was the one where it says the officers attempted to disarm the suspect, but the armed suspect violently resisted. More details on the armed struggle are forthcoming. Fearing for his life and the lives and safety of fellow officers, an agent fired defensive shots. Medics on scene immediately delivered medical aid to the subject, but was pronounced dead at the scene. The suspect also had 2 magazines. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. The defensive shots, there was nothing defensive about those shots. He was not threatening them in any way. That was also
that's
a
false.
lie.
That's false. So if you have a first weapon, you would say a primary. Would it not be the case that there's probably a probability of a secondary?
There might be.
Right. Do you think officers have a safe assumption to make in a volatile arrest within seconds notice, or even having the perception of the officer, not the video, not 20/20 evidence, but in the heat of the moment, to assume if he's then reaching back, which he did on the video, he reached back, that he probably could have had a secondary. This couldn't even been a gun. This could have been a knife or anything else, that we would have been perceiving that because you have 2 magazines, there might have been a secondary.
So do you think that if an officer thinks that a suspect might have a weapon on him, that makes a shooting defensive in nature if they shoot? That all I have to do is I see a guy on a street, I think, oh, he probably has a gun, and I shoot him. Is that justified as a shooting?
So there's 2 statements you made right now. When you say probably, no, not probably. We already removed a gun off of him already, so that implies that there's probably possibility of a second.
Why would that? Hold on. Why would that necessarily imply that?
Hold on. Okay, then we can address this real quick. The reason why is because you've already conceded right now that if somebody has a primary, they probably have a secondary.
No,
now,
I did not concede that. You asked if it was possible. I conceded that it is possible,
yes.
not that it is probable.
He
possible,
said that it was possible if that was the case.
Hold on. So I'm going to give you an example. If I'm at a convenience store and I have somebody detained and they're under arrest and I'm trying to apprehend them, which you don't need to be able to tell somebody, hey, you're under arrest. If there's a violent altercation, I can then grab them and try to cuff them up, especially if I have resources, which other officers at my disposal, and we're trying to take them and somebody reaches into their pocket. Am I going to wait for them to say, okay, let's see what it is before they pull it out?
If you have no reason to believe that they have a gun, you should not shoot them.
No, that's not my question. If somebody is under arrest, let's make it general. I'll make it dumbed down for you. If somebody's under arrest and we say, hey, freeze, don't do anything, and you reach for your pocket, do you think we should wait to see what you produce to make sure it's a gun before we shoot?
I don't think that you should shoot until you see a weapon. No.
No, that's not how it works. What
you asked me what I think we should do. I told you what I think we should do.
You would have so many dead officers in
but
this
here,
nation.
In this case,
like, no, we have to
Freddie never reached for a gun. He never reached for a weapon.
He reached down across his back.
Can you show me that in the video?
It's on the video.
Yeah, show it. Show it to me. Show me the frame.
He does, but it's after he's already been shot.
Yes, people do this all the time in like a last-ditch effort.
Hold on. So you're telling me that because after he was shot in the back, he reached towards his back, that justified him getting shot in the back before he reached there?
Do you know what panic fire is? Do you know what that is? If I get shot, I'm probably going to have pattern recognition and reach for the secondary sometimes if that's the case.
Okay.
Pattern behavior, especially with CCW.
So real quick,
but you got to justify that first shot.
Let me just play this real quick so I can show the audience what it is we're talking about.
Yeah, that's where they're beating him, by the way. Yeah, and then they shoot and they kill him.
So that's
do you think...
that's where they start shooting the the part
There's
where
another angle,
he
though, to
reaches
this, where he
behind
reaches-
him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
the
reaches-
part where
there's
he
another
reaches
angle.
behind him is
So, Wick, you don't
here.
think that it's a good idea to approach law enforcement with a weapon, right? Do you
Why?
think that
Hold
was
on.
a good idea?
What do you mean? I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with that.
There's a lot.
So-
if you're
so
going
yeah,
to
so
have
if
a weapon,
you
Hold on,
already
if I
hear the
have a
first
weapon
shot-
holstered on me,
situation, that's bad.
and I don't, again,
Just
I
real
don't draw
quick,
it, I don't reach for
this
it.
is him
there's nothing
reaching
wrong with
behind
it.
himself, but this is after the first shot, as I said. So
Yes,
I don't care what he did after he shot.
Yeah. Right. So you don't care that if somebody's still alive and in last ditch effort they're gonna think life preservation at the time and try to take one last shot.
Because he got
This is something
shot,
that can
and
happen
that
oftentimes.
shot before he reached anywhere was unjustified.
So if somebody got shot and they're still reaching, are you going to, so like I said, the same thing that you went ahead and conceded, are you still going to wait for them to pull it out to see what it is?
I wouldn't have
there's
shot
a
the
wait.
guy
There's
in the
a
first
Marte.
place.
There's a hold on. Wait. There's a we have like some wires crossed here. The thing that Whick is contesting is the very first shot. You're saying yes, after the first shot he reaches behind him, so now they have justification to continue shooting. But he's contesting the very first shot that's before he reached behind him.
So when they yell gun, the weapon that he did have has been known to have misfires all the time. We can agree on this, right?
Not all the time, no.
No, it was so much that they discontinued this from the Air Force and other
Okay.
organizations as well too.
But his gun did not misfire.
No, wait, hold on. Can you agree to that?
It
Weapon
has
misfired so many
it has
times
some
and had so
reports of
many weapons
misfire,
malfunctions
sure,
that they took it
but
off
you
the
have to show
market.
me where his gun misfired.
There's still footage of this where the guy didn't have his finger on the trigger and it still went off.
Show me where that gun went off.
Yeah, I'm
Are
not
we just
sure
gonna
where
review
it
footage?
goes
Okay,
off either.
we can do
From,
this. I don't care.
well, I mean, from my
Okay.
understanding, the DHS
That
hasn't
didn't
even
happen.
claimed that the SIG went off.
Hold on. Let me not hide the ball. Let me be very clear.
the
Marte,
SIG
you're
did
fucking
go
lying.
off.
That never happened,
Yeah,
and you
anyways,
cannot
Wick,
produce
you've been
evidence of it
lying to-
happening.
You lied to me twice already.
I've never lied to you
You've
once
literally
during this
lied to me
conversation.
on camera right now, Wick.
All
You
my
said the guy was thrown
statements have been
down
backed
and
up
he
by
wasn't
either
thrown
video
at
evidence or
all.
textual evidence. Every single one.
So
I'm telling you
Wick,
right
we just saw
now
real
video
quick,
that
evidence of
you
the guy not
have
being thrown,
no
and you're gonna
proof
assert that he was thrown,
that
which is
the
false. You
SIG
lied to me in
that
my
he
face.
used discharged accidentally. You have no proof of that.
Wick, I have proof
Okay,
of
real
you
quick.
lying to me in my face saying he was thrown and he wasn't thrown. But
He was
anyways, let's
absolutely thrown to the
continue.
ground, and we could all see
Okay,
it.
real
No,
quick.
he wasn't thrown. That's bullshit. We saw this right now. You're gonna
So
lie
that I
to your
can-
audience
so
and
that I-
mine.
Hold on, so that I can X out of this. Wick, you had a second link as well. What was this one?
He asked
I
me
don't
for.
see any lies in
This
this
was a
link, by the
while
way.
ago. He asked me for proof. I said that there's over
This
1,000
isn't
reports
proof, Wick.
of
Not proof.
Hold on,
credible
Marte, hold on.
reports of
Marte,
human
hold
rights
on.
abuses in immigration detention facilities during the years since January 20th, 2025 to current day, right? There's over 1,000 reports. That's the report. It's a Senate report from a Senate hearing. Is that official enough for you? It represents a pattern of abusive
Okay,
behavior.
Wait, what?
I'm gonna X out of the.
Hold
Hold
on
on,
real
wait. Hold on. I'm gonna X out of the screen share. I sent the same thing to Marte. So Marte, if you want to look at that, you can. If you don't want to contend with this, that's fine. I did want to get to some different aspects of this, but yeah,
Sure,
Marte,
but
do you
just
want
to kind of
contest
put a
with the
bow,
John
if I
Ossoff
may.
part?
It's
Just to
hold
put a
on
bow
real
in
quick.
all
It's
this, I'll
weird
just
because-
Well,
have
hold
a
on.
little
Wait.
screen.
Let me hear. Hold on. I want to. Marte, do you are you wanting to contest with this?
Well, hold on. I will say this, and my chat can't even admit to this. On the chat, if you can see on the right side of my screen, does it say messages failed to load? I can't even bring up the information. Do you not see that right there? So on my screen, I can't bring up the information that he presented. It's refusing to bring it up. I hit try again, and it's failing to load that information.
Okay.
I'm not lying.
I
I'm
mean, you
showing
can try on your
objective
phone.
I don't.
evidence.
I don't.
Yeah,
I don't think you're lying on this.
We've seen
your tech
issues.
issues have
Yeah,
been
if you have your
evidence.
if you have your phone, you can. Do you have Discord on your phone?
No, I don't. I'd have to download it on my phone.
Okay.
You know
Okay.
what?
All right.
Look,
Well then hold on. We'll.
Well, the first point is
well,
well,
hold
the
on,
first
wait,
point
Can I
of
put
the
a
bow
bow on?
actually
Hold on,
is
wait.
because I didn't see any lies
hold on.
that he could
Okay.
demonstrate.
So Wick, you said that you wanted to put a bow on this, and then we'll let Marte respond, and then we'll move on.
Sure, I think it's
Yeah, go
pretty
ahead.
apparent from the video we saw and from the text of the DHS tweet that I provided that the DHS lied throughout that encounter and lied about what happened. All the statements I've made on this have been backed up by video footage, which we have reviewed, or by the text, which we have also reviewed. I've been able to show you. I've been able to provide this evidence. And when I ask for evidence in return, you fail to provide it. I asked for proof of the SIG going off and discharging accidentally, and what I would accept as proof is video evidence of it happening or a DHS report saying it happened, but you have failed to provide either of those things. You just consistently lie, and this is a problem, and it's why it's hard to engage with you in good faith on these things, because you'll just lie.
Okay, are you done?
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
All right.
Marte, go ahead and wrap this
I'm
part
going to
up.
respond real quick to these claims. So I've shown proof in the initial setup that we've had.
No,
this
you
debate
haven't.
That I've had audio. Hold on. I never interrupted you. That I've had audio issues, video issues, and on my side, it shows messages failing to load. And not to mention this, my bookmarks that I've had for this debate have been eliminated and deleted off my computer. I don't know why I'm having it. So I can show proof that I've had technical difficulties on this issue. But here's the thing, though. You're at the behest of the things that you can't prove to me when you show an email or actually a message from DHS on X saying, well, they're asserting this, that it's violent. It's just the semantical issues in your feelings. When you say this, well, it's not violent if they had a gun and they're wrestling it away from you. Well, that's also a matter of perception. If they say it's violent, do you not know that even if I can see this to you, that it wasn't violent and they said it's violent, that it doesn't move the needle on ICE being a net negative to the nation? Even if I can see this, and you've admitted in the opening onset of this debate saying, yes, they're doing more arrests. Yes, they're doing more deportations. That's literally their job, which is demonstrably a net positive more than a negative. You have to.
Hold on, let me ask you
the
this.
onus is on you to prove that they're a net
Sure,
negative.
let me ask you this. If for every...
Real quick, just for housekeeping, Wick, do you hear Discord sounds? Is
yeah,
it
his
me or is it him?
notifications are going off.
Okay, I
but
just
that's
wanted
okay.
to make sure it wasn't me. Okay,
yeah.
okay, go ahead.
So let me ask you this, okay? Say that we could double the deportations under Trump today, right? But in order to do that, we'd have to rape children. So for every time we double the amount of deportations, we have to rape 1,000 kids. Would you be okay with that?
That's a disingenuous question to even ask. Nobody would be okay
Can you
with
engage
that.
with the hypothetical, please?
I just did. I said nobody would be okay with that. That's
Okay.
an engagement.
So there are certain things that can happen that even if we increase our deportation numbers, even if things line go up, we would still not be okay with it and say it's a net negative because a certain thing is happening that we view as so harmful that it overrides the whatever possible benefit we could gain from more deportations. My argument is that the consistent lying, the consistent breaking of the law by DHS and ICE officers are so egregious, so apparent, and happen so often that it overrides any benefit that we get from increased deportation numbers. Do you
Well, hold
understand?
on. We did get into this earlier. Hold on. Wait. We did get into this earlier. And like Marte was saying that he was looking for some sort of like systemic problem
There
that is
hasn't been
that
any
would
demonstration
exist.
of-
And so so hold on. So when we're talking about like illegal things, Wick, do you have like examples of court cases or things of this nature that would show that there is something more systemic happening, or even where they're being charged with something illegal?
Well, Tom, can I interject for just a second? I'm not
Well, hold
gonna
on.
derail.
Well, no.
So
I want to.
I can show you
I'm asking
reports.
Wick if he does or not.
Sure. I can
he
show you reports where they violated
ahead.
court orders. I can show you information where they passed around the whistleblower report of them passing around the secret memo that shows the violation of the Fourth Amendment, right? That's what I can give you. Give me a second. I have so many links. Hold on.
Okay.
Again, guys, if you guys want to send super chats with any questions, we're going to try to get to questions in about 30 minutes. So if you guys have any questions, you can send them through a link that's put in my chat for tips, or if you guys even send them to Marte or Whick, we can I'll get them to send those over to
Sure.
me as well, and we'll read them.
So Tom,
But
while he's looking up this
go ahead.
information,
Well, I gave
I
you
just wanna
one.
say-
Hold on, let me
So,
get the whistleblower report.
hold on, Tom. Can I say something while he's looking up the information, because he was allowed to do that while I was trying to find mine, which computer
go ahead.
issues, whatever, right? So he's asserted that I've lied while not demonstrating how I've lied. Or in order for him to make an accusation, he needs to be able to logically demonstrate this, which he hasn't on his end. And I've literally asked. I said, okay, they're breaking into houses. Remember, I said before, Tom. I said, okay, can you show me where they're breaking into houses without warrant? These cases. He still hasn't proved any of this or demonstrated this. Yeah, he's accused me of doing the same thing that he himself is doing, which is crazy.
I'm literally Hold on. Tom has tried to show you some of these things, but your tech isn't working, so you can't see. And that's the frustrating part of all
this. Would I
this.
still be correct in my analysis? Still, even if I could, am I still right to say I can't see it?
He's
I haven't seen it.
well, no,
Hold
no,
on,
no,
hold on, no, hold on,
He's not-
stop.
no, no, no,
Is your
wait, no, no,
argument
hold on,
that
wait, wait,
because
hold on. He was asking me a question, so that
Yeah.
the problem is that when you say he hasn't demonstrated it, Wick is your claim isn't just that you haven't seen it, but that he hasn't demonstrated it. So Wick is claiming he has demonstrated it. Your tech problems are keeping you from knowing that he's demonstrated it.
Okay, then we can say that. Then I can say my technical difficulties are preventing me from knowing he's demonstrated this, but I can't agree with something that I can't prove as well too, that I can't see.
Okay, and that's why
Right?
we're gonna move on. So the article that he just sent me is from Politico. It says how ICE defies judges' orders to release detainees step by step. Courts across the country have overwhelmingly rejected the Trump administration's effort to round up thousands of immigrants and lock them up without a chance for bond, even if they have no criminal records and have lived in the United States for years. But the Trump administration has slow-walked or outright defied judges' orders demanding the release of people scooped up by the Immigration and Customs Enforcement at increasingly rapid clips. So,
Can you send that to me on X, because I have my X up right now. I'm pretty sure that we're I don't know if we're friends.
yes.
That way, because I'm trying
while
to
you
be
look,
as
I gotta
good
use the
as
restroom real quick, so
possible.
I'll be right back. Okay. gang,
Unlike
I'm
what Wick is saying, he's saying on bad faith.
gotta pee.
That's why I'm opening up new avenues of connection. So we had this fluid communication, and I'm offering X so that way we can at least see that. If my Discord is down.
Also, do me a
malfunctioning-
favor. If you guys have to walk away, don't. I meant to say this earlier, but don't turn off your cameras because it does. I have like all of the cams set up separately over here, so that's why like screen sharing and stuff like that does mess up everything on my side. But okay, so I'm gonna send this to you on
Oh, it's a news source.
Twitter. Yeah, so it's from Politico, but it does have sources linked.
And that's the thing, though. And I just want to, like, I'm not trying to do a gotcha or anything like that in his lack of presence here, because I think that would be bad faith if I just try to slam his whole argument when he wasn't present. But I do want to say, though, that when he did show I would say the statement from DHS on X, this is just like a perception issue. This isn't like, okay, it doesn't mean he was resisting or anything like that. Even if we took out the violent out of this doesn't change the fact that he was resisting and that they wouldn't be justified to not say this. And we kind of lose the premise when we're saying he still was resisting regardless, and it doesn't move the national needle on net negative on this whole argument. That's all I was saying, just to clear things up on my end.
According to my side, Twitter's down.
So it's like a lot of malfunctions happening on our end.
I'm back.
This is crazy. This is just a crazy, weird tech day for everybody.
Okay, now it's up. All right. What is your name on Twitter again?
It's Mighty Marte.
Okay.
Wick, how come, you know what, this is aside from the whole point, Wick. How come you always wear a hoodie? Like,
Branding.
you remind me of Ewok every time I see you. This
branding.
isn't a jab, by the
Okay,
way.
I sent it to you.
Okay. Let me refresh this so I can see this real quick.
All right, so Wick, real quick, summarize for us once again what it is that we're supposed to get
Are
from
we
the
looking at the
article.
political one right here? So
Yes.
earlier in the debate, I mentioned and I asserted that ICE is regularly defying the courts, slow walking release orders, or in some cases outright ignoring release orders or ignoring judges' orders. And this is reporting showcasing that that is correct, that my assertion is correct. And the reason why this is important is because it demonstrates a pattern of behavior. Because my argument is that ICE, DHS, the Trump administration, because of their policies, are engaged in a pattern of behavior that is eroding our civil liberties. And here is one bit of evidence that showcases that. There's a lot to go through, but that is one.
Oh, hold on real quick. You're talking about this article where the judges are basically going against the Trump administration or refusing to cooperate with him. Yeah, of course. We've had judges fighting him from even lawful arrest. This happens all the time by refusing to let DHS agents arrest on site with the court when they're justified doing this. We
Okay,
actually
these
had
are
a case.
hold on. These
and I
are
can-
habeas petitions. Do you know what a
Hold
habeas
on real quick.
petition is?
Hold on. I'll even state a case, and I can bring this up as well too, where a judge.
I
had
just
let
need you to
a
answer my
Well, wait,
offender
hold
go
question.
out
on.
of the
This
back
is
door.
wait. Marte, let him respond because yeah, I don't want
Yeah, go
to
ahead.
move to an example before he gets
Okay,
clarification.
I'm just asking you if you, and I'm not asking you this as a gotcha. I just want to know if you know what this is, so I can explain if you don't. Do you know what a habeas petition is? Habeas. Sorry.
Wait, say it again. My
A
audio.
habeas petition. Do you know what that is?
A habeas petition?
Yes.
Did you wait? Hold on. Say it again.
Habeas.
Yes, that is what he's
petition.
asking. Do you know what habeas is? Like habeas corpus.
You're talking about the process of allowing the lawfulness of positions to justify holding somebody, things like that.
Yeah, when someone puts
Someone's ability
forward
to
a habeas
challenge whether or not
petition,
they're being
they're
held.
challenging challenging the government's ability to hold them in prison or detainment, right? Oh, his audio went out.
Your audio's out again. Your mic is out again. Your mic's out again.
Here, I'll give my audience the article too so they can read it. I can't hear a word you're saying.
You guys hear me now?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes.
A safeguard against government detention. I'm familiar with that.
Yes. So when a detainee feels that they have been wrongly detained, they are putting forth a habeas petition to the courts. And when they win their petition, when they win their case, ICE is delaying or in some cases outright ignoring the court. And that is illegal. They do not have the ability to
hold
do
on.
that.
You're talking about where in Minnesota where judges are refusing to work with the Trump administration. You know that this knife cuts both ways, right?
How does it cut both ways?
It cuts both ways when you have people like Brandon Johnson refuse to, basically saying that we have ICE-free zones. So naturally, if you look at Chicago even as an example, judges aren't going to work with the Trump administration also.
Judges have
that
no
not stand to be correct?
obligation to work with the
Hold on.
administration. They have an obligation to uphold the law.
So you
If
mean
the
to
law
tell me
requires
that with
them
law,
to
hold on. Is it refusing to work with the law if you're telling people we have ICE-free zones?
hold on.
No, answer the question.
If
Is
you,
that a
yeah,
refusal to work with federal law if you're telling
You
ICE,
can.
who are federal agents and have jurisdiction?
you know
to work
that
anywhere
sanctuary
except for
cities
national
are
parks?
legal, right?
Hold on. Can you answer the question?
Yes,
Wick?
it's legal to do that.
So-
It's legal
No,
to do that.
no.
Judges are legally
Federal
allowed,
agents,
right? Or
federal
cities,
agents can operate
politicians are
anywhere.
legally allowed to say, hey, we're not going to cooperate with the federal government here. We're not going to work with them.
Oh, you're admitting that they are actively
10th Amendment,
obstructing
man.
ICE from detaining criminals and taking them. That's
No,
what
I'm
you
not.
just admitted right now.
No, I'm not. What
Oh,
you're
hold on.
asserting.
You said they can lawfully.
Yes,
they can lawfully
I'm not
resist and
asserting
not work
that
with the
they are
government.
doing it. I'm
You just
asserting
said this,
that
Whick.
they can.
Well, hold on. All right, we're getting a little off the.
Yes, and
off
you're not
topic for a
again
second,
engaging with my
because-
question.
Hold on,
You're
wait,
not
wait,
engaging
hold
with
on,
any of
hold
my
on, hold on,
questions
hold
or
on.
any of my.
Because
Stop,
hold on,
stop,
wait,
stop,
hold
Tom,
on,
please.
hold on.
Let me get
hold
through
on.
this. Let me get through this,
This is
please.
crazy.
I got to.
So, well,
Okay,
this
hold
is
on.
the
Can I-
problem.
can I
is
just
that
get through
his claim was about a judge not cooperating, and that the courts
Sure.
were not cooperating. But the example that he gave was, I believe, a mayor, Brennan Johnson. Whereas I was going to ask for an example of courts not cooperating, if that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, this is also the police department and courts, and his whole city is basically saying we're having ICE-free zones.
What
which means that
judge
ICE
has
can't operate.
refused to cooperate
Hold
with the
Hold on.
administration?
ICE can't operate within court systems, the streets, or any jurisdiction in their city because apparently the whole of Chicago is ICE free, which means they're refusing to cooperate with them. So when you say this null and voids your point when you say that
No,
it's
it doesn't.
just, the government that's at fault when the courts aren't operating with ICE or even wanting to cooperate with ICE.
Can you give me a case,
That's
a single
crazy.
instance? Can I ask my question first? Can you give me a case or a single instance anywhere in the United States of America where the government has brought suit and the courts, even though the petitioner has a legal right to bring a suit, because it's ICE, the government has refused to hear it?
Say that again. My audio was
The
kinda-
judges have refused to hear it, I should say. Okay, let me repeat it again. Can you give me a single instance in the continental I won't say the continental, you can do Hawaii too if you like, right? In the United States of America, right? Can you give me a single instance where ICE has had a legal ability to bring something to court, right? And that the justices or a judge has said, I'm not going to follow the law and I'm going to deny your petition.
Yeah, I can bring it up. Matter of fact, Tom, I'll send it to you right now. Give me 1
Okay,
second.
please. I'd love to hear it.
This is crazy. This is actually a pretty popular and actually famous example. I'll send it to you through X since X is working because I don't know why.
The
I can't
X?
really
Okay.
Yeah, I know. I have to do it through
You
X
send it to
because-
me. I'll send it to you on Discord.
Please
Wait.
do.
Matter of fact, the judge was found guilty of this too. It's
Oh, I
crazy.
know what you're talking about. That's not them, again, that's not them refusing to cooperate, right?
What, they
with-
were refusing, yes. So if you let a criminal out of the back door and not letting arrest happen, that's a refusal, is that not?
What happened to that
You
person?
sent the YouTube video.
Sure, what happened to that
shit.
person?
You said a single case.
Sure, what
I
happened to
sent
them?
it to you, Tom.
What happened to them?
Hold on. I sent it to Tom. He could check this out.
Okay, what happened to
Well,
that
you
person?
sent me a
I see
YouTube
it. He
video,
sent it
but
to me.
he's
Well,
I
I know the case he's talking about. To be clear.
So real quick, just for everybody, that the cases where a judge had an immigrant inside the court, 2 ICE officers showed up. The judge had somebody go and escort the ICE officers to another judge, and then she helped the immigrant sneak out the back of the courthouse. So, Wick, what was your response to this?
Here's the thing.
How's that
I'll
not
concede that
refusal?
that's the case, but she got arrested for that. She was held
Oh,
accountable for that,
shit.
and thus,
Fuck,
hold on,
Wick.
you're
Yeah,
laughing.
go ahead, Wick. Go
But
ahead.
can you understand the difference between a justice who broke the law, getting arrested, going through the process, being found guilty, but when then
Refusing?
ICE breaks the law by defying the courts, they are not held to any account at all. You
Can you
understand
show me an
the difference
example?
here?
You show me an example where ICE broke the law because that article doesn't say that ICE is breaking the law.
Okay,
And
do you think
not
it's
giving a
legal to
single
defy
case
the
or any of that
courts?
stuff.
Do you think it's legal to ignore a court order? If ICE decides, I don't want to abide by this court order, do you think that they have the legal ability to do so?
If ICE says I don't want to abide by that
Yes,
court order,
the judge orders, hey, this habeas petition has come through. I find that the petitioner is
Cool.
correct. You should release
Can
them
engage.
now. In your view, does ICE have
Can
the
engage
legal
with this.
ability to ignore that order and keep the person detained anyway?
I can engage with this. So here's the thing, though. I can actually agree and concede that, yeah, ICE would be in the wrong doing this, but I've yet to see one good example. But when you ask for an example, you've actually known about this. And Tom actually elaborated how a judge was refusing, and you said, no, that's not refusal. Letting
Do
somebody
you
out
understand
of
that
the
I
back
gave
door of a
you an
courthouse-
article
Hold on,
showcasing many
You
examples?
show me an article that gives a broad
Hundreds
analysis
of
of something and doesn't
examples.
cite a single case. It's crazy.
In
When
fact,
I cite a single case,
one
an
judge
example,
cites in the
Wait,
month of
Marte,
January
let him
alone
respond.
96 examples of them defying court orders.
haven't seen one. You're just making assertions without a
I'm
demonstration.
not making
of
assertions.
any.
I am providing evidence of what the federal justices are saying. I gave you an article through Tom that sent it to you. If at this
So,
point you
looking
are
up the
refusing to
article-
acknowledge that, then I don't know what to
So,
tell
hold
you.
on,
You're
hold on.
just fucking lying.
Hold on. If we look at this, they say that these practices are concerning to suggest that ICE is attempting to hide the location of detainees and all this other stuff. In the midst of judges that were refusing to work with them, who has the jurisdiction here? Judges or ICE that have to detain these people and take them out of the country? Who has jurisdiction here?
Hold on. Can I ask you?
ICE does.
Can I ask you what that has to do with the question I asked?
ICE does. So if the judge had jurisdiction
What
here,
does
she
that
would
have
have
to
got
do- hold on,
arrested
answer
for
my
refusing. It
question.
would have been the other way.
What
hold
does
on,
that
hold
have
on,
to
hold on,
do
Whick.
with the assertion
If-
I've made or the
If
question
the
I've
judges
asked?
had jurisdiction here, the
Wait,
ICE
hold
would have
on,
been
Marte. Hold on.
arrested.
You did make your argument. I wanted to let Whick respond.
Sure.
Go ahead.
That is non-responsive to the assertion I've made, the evidence I've provided, or the questions I've asked. I've asserted and provided evidence that in the month of January alone,
Not proof.
again, the article I sent provides that proof, where a federal judge
Doesn't have proof in
has
there.
said that the ICE has defied the court 96 times in the month of January alone, which is more than some institutions have done in their entire existence. Do you deny that that happened?
But when you say this, when you
Do
when
you
make claims
deny
like
that
this,
that happened?
deny that what happens?
That
Repeat
a
it again?
federal judge
That they
made the
defied
assertion
the court 91 times.
96.
96. Do you deny that the judge is correct, or
No, the judge said
agree
Can I
that.
that
see
that's-
this case because I'm hearing it.
it's not an 8 case, it's 96 cases. It's a
Okay,
judge
where is he getting
claiming
this
that
data
they
from? Where is he getting this information from? Once again, I just want to see it, not
Keep
hear it.
was
giving
the
you
article
the
that we
source.
sent.
I keep giving you
the-
the
the
evidence, and you say,
source
"Where are
that
you
he
getting
sent.
it from?"
Okay, hold on. Let me give me a second. I'm gonna scour through this information real quick. Okay. Onto the third paragraph right now, going through still. Saying what they
So the
should,
second
what I
the second
should do,
paragraph
I'm over,
says this. The
I'm
second
on the
paragraph,
should
the
claim
second
that
one.
the
Let me just
article's
read it
making
out.
right
I'll
now.
just
I'm
read it out
still
to you.
waiting for this.
I'll
Hold
just
on.
read it out to you. Okay. The second administration says, but the Trump administration has slow walked or outright defied judges' orders demanding the release of people scooped up by immigration and customs enforcement at an increasingly rapid clip. So when the, again, second paragraph says judges the administration has outright defied judges' orders demanding the release of people, are you countering the article's assertion here? Do you think that that's not true?
So the reason why it's very fallacious for you to bring this up when
I'm
point out that
asking a
judges are-
simple question. I want a
No.
simple answer, but you run. You run
Don't
from
think
every
it's-
single point
no,
I make.
it's not
You
that
are
simple,
the
Whick, because
fastest motherfucker
you just
who
don't
is
want
running a
your argument
marathon
destroyed.
from every single
Oh,
point
wait,
that I make.
hold
You
on,
refuse to
Marte.
engage.
It's not a simple
Marte,
answer.
we would have to have an answer. Marte, we would again, like, it's fine for you to give like an
Tom-
explanation, but or to say that you disagree with with his
disagree.
argument, but you would have to say no. Yes, I contend with
I
this
disagree, and I can
because
explain
X,
why.
Y, and Z. Okay, go ahead.
I disagree.
So
and I can
you
explain
to be clear, just so I'm clear, you're saying that didn't happen.
didn't happen, and I can explain why.
Okay, explain.
Okay, great. Now that we've established this, I can move on to explaining why this whole premise is stupid.
No.
So if I've
You have to explain why that didn't happen.
Oh,
You've claimed it
you're
didn't
not letting me
happen.
explain it.
Explain.
I'm explaining why it didn't happen.
Provide
The
evidence.
reason why it didn't happen.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, can I
Okay,
even finish
give your argument first. Go ahead.
So the reason why it didn't happen, and I can say more often than not it didn't happen, and I'll say this right now, is because if there's a whole city that's denying ICE operations from working in that whole city, we can assume that a lot of these judges are refusing to work with law enforcement and federal authorities. So by proxy, if they're refusing to work with federal authorities, they're going to say that, no, they're not working with us. No, it's the other way around. That's crazy.
Okay, that is
Literally
non-responsive
assume.
to any of this.
Yeah,
That
we
does
can't-
not
we
follow.
can't have a whole city to
Assume.
say not working with ICE. We have an ICE-free zone. That means federal operations can't work within our city. That's the other way around. How is that not, Wick?
It does not follow that
Right.
your assertion that this did not happen just because a mayor made a statement about ice-free zones that is not evidence that when the justices, multiple
It is
justices,
evidence.
have claimed, and this is in multiple locations, have claimed that, hey, the courts are, ICE is defying the court. ICE is ignoring our orders. ICE is in contempt of court, right? Them
Oh, hold on,
saying
hold on.
that there are ice-free zones has nothing to do with that
Would a
claim.
court be an
It does not
ice-free zone?
wipe away that
Would a
claim.
court-
It is not evidence that that
Wait.
claim is fallacious. It is not evidence that that claim is not happening. It is
fallacious.
non-responsive.
So hold on, Wick. If Mayor Brandon Johnson said the whole city's an ice-free zone, would that not apply to the courts?
Is that court
It technically doesn't.
in Minneapolis?
It's the
Technically,
ice-free
it does.
zone
If
from.
the mayor's saying
So
that law
real quick, hold on.
enforcement
Wait.
has a
Hold
stand-down
on.
order-
Hold on, Marte, hold on. The two things. One, the ice-free zones means that they're saying that they're not allowed to just go do raids and like random pullovers. That they have
Not
to
true.
have judicial warrants. Well, that is what it is that they actually put into place. The statement that they put out is that they have to have warrants. But before you go, that is still a different issue from whether or not you disagree that ICE has broken the court orders. That would be a separate
And
issue
to
from that.
be clear, these are not state
So-
courts. They are federal
I
courts.
don't believe it's a separate issue.
Hold
the
on.
reason why I
These
don't
are
believe it's
federal
a
courts. Hold
separate
on.
issue-
Do you know the difference between a federal court and a state court?
Okay, so both of you guys can go, and we're just gonna.
I just want you to
we can-
answer one question or engage with one point in good faith. Just one. If we can do that, that'll be a victory for you, a moral victory
You
for you.
literally lied to me twice, but go ahead, Wick.
I've never lied once. Again, do you understand the difference between a
the
state
person was
court and a
thrown
federal
down, but
court?
Go ahead.
Can a state mayor or governor influence, not influence is probably the wrong word, can they control a federal court?
Even if they
No.
couldn't,
The answer is no. So
even
when
if they couldn't,
a mayor or
Hold
a
on, that
governor
makes no
declares an
fucking
ice-free
sense what you
zone,
just said.
it makes no
that makes
difference
no sense.
to what a federal
Wick,
court
I'll show
does
you
or
why
does
your
not
logic's
do.
faulty and stupid.
So when a
Let me
federal
show you why
court,
this logic
a
is dumb.
federal court says that ICE is disobeying our orders,
Let me show you why
citing
this
a
logic is
governor
faulty.
or citing a mayor or citing any of that has no bearing on what they're saying. Again, what you're
me show
saying
you
is
why this
just
logic
not
is faulty.
responsive to
Wick,
any of
are
my
you just
points.
gonna? Are you almost done, Wick? Because you're still talking.
Yes, because
This is why
Yeah,
the
Marte,
logic is
I'm still.
faulty.
I would we're still waiting for why, like the why this is relevant to
Because
the.
I couldn't even get to it. I just want to get to it real quick. I'll be really quick. I promise. Maybe a minute and a half. The reason why is because they've not.
Your mic went out again. Your mic went out again. That was some fucking timing right there, dude. That was some wild timing right there. The reason is because
So the reason why. Can you guys hear me now?
yes.
This only happens on Discord, I swear. The reason why I'm saying that this is an overarching premise by having ice-free zones is because the police have been told to stand down and not work. within behest of what the mayor's saying too. So when you say things like the federal court is saying that they can't, whatever, this is beside the point, because if police aren't supporting this and the judges follow suit, guess what's going to happen? You're going to have ice-free zones in courts and on the street and everywhere else. So when you say it's only on the streets and police aren't cooperating, would it not make sense that the judges and the legal system, which is a part of the police as well too, would not follow suit with this? The ice-free zones are an extension of just the streets. I'm just letting you know
Hold
right
on,
now.
wait, Marte, I'm still not understanding how this connects to whether or not ICE officers are breaking court orders, because this isn't just like in one city that a judge is making this claim. These are judges like across the country, according to the article, that have made this claim. And so we're trying to get to a point where, like, even if one city has said that they are an ICE-free zone, and even if there is a rogue judge somewhere in that city, that this wouldn't like apply to whether or not you, like, 96 different times ICE has broken court orders. Like, I'm just trying to get to a point where we can actually
if we can overwhelmingly see that Wisconsin's courts and even their judges are kind of opposing this, and even if we look at Michigan, how the police are basically backing down and not supporting them at all. I mean, mind you, Chicago's mayor is supported by not only the extension of law enforcement, which is also.
I'm sorry, Marte. I'm really trying to understand, but it's like we're getting really entangled. Is your claim that because there are places that say this, you believe that judges are lying in saying that? Hold on, is it your claim? Hold on. Is it your claim that judges are lying in saying that ICE isn't? That ICE is breaking court orders, or what is the? I still don't get the claim on the breaking of court orders.
Judges are willfully not cooperating with Trump at all. Not only that, but the city and law enforcement, and also the mayor as well too.
I'm sorry, I don't understand what that has to do with whether or not ICE is breaking court orders. We're trying to
I'll even tie this in real quick. So if you have people that are not cooperating with ICE and saying they're not going to do what we're going to do, but we need them to follow our orders, and even though ICE has prime jurisdiction over apprehending these criminals, guess what's going to happen? They're going to paint a picture and say they're not working with us, even though they refuse to work with ICE. You see how?
So that's what I was asking. That's what I'm asking. Yeah. So that you're saying that they are lying about ICE breaking court orders. That's.
I believe they're not. Yes. I believe they're not forthcoming. I agree with that. They're not forthcoming about this because they refuse to work with ICE.
No.
So when you say forthcoming, do you mean lying?
Wait. I'm sorry. Wait. Yes, they are. They would be lying. They are making a claim. They are forthcoming with this information that ICE is breaking court orders.
Wait, hold on. Can you be forthcoming with an omission? Okay. If I don't tell you that I'm working with somebody, but then I tell you that I'm refusing to work with somebody, what's a lie of omission?
Sure, give me an example of
I'm going to go crazy.
They say,
hold on, nothing to do at all.
Wait, hold on. I'm really trying to get to this.
You have a whole city that's not working with Trump.
Hold on. Marte, in this case, give me an example with this court case where we would say that the judge is saying that judges are saying that ICE is breaking court orders, and there's 96 of them. Give me an example of them lying by omission in this case.
I don't even have to give an example of one judge. I can tell you a mayor who's given a direct order to all the officials and everybody else in the city that the city in itself is an ICE-free zone. Would it not logically make sense that if the courts are saying that we're not working with police officers and supporting their back, that judges would follow suit and everybody else in the legal system would not follow suit if police are?
No, these are separate things. Why would it ever follow that that's the case?
Do judges not work
hand in hand? And it doesn't matter. These are federal judges across the country saying this.
Hold on. We're talking about courts, period, in the city. The whole city is an ICE-free zone. He's actually told the National Guard, you can't even come in here. The whole city's an ICE-free zone.
Okay, you understand
you can't
how
even bring anything
federalism
federal
works.
In there.
The federal judges are not, again, beholden to a governor or a mayor.
Hold on. That may be true, but we're talking about in the city that's refusing National Guard or anything federal to operate.
Nothing about a city refusing National Guard or whatever has anything to do with federal judges across the country claiming
even if that was the case,
ICE has violated court orders 96 times in the month of January.
Even if this was the case that a federal judge said, hey,
Multiple
you guys
federal
are to
judges
follow our orders, and
have
this
said
whole
this.
city as a whole is refusing to work with the Trump administration, even on a federal level, to me, that's refusing directives to work with us, and that's a refusal on their end, not our end. You understand that?
This has nothing to do with the
It has
claim.
everything to do.
It does not.
If
Your logic does
Wisconsin,
not
if
follow.
Michigan is following suit, and Chicago is doing the same thing, and nobody, even Newsom, isn't working with Trump as an administration because he even said National Guard or anything federal can operate in my city for the most part. They're literally creating a civil war legally and even politically against Trump to even cooperate with Trump as an administration. The refusal is massively on their end. They don't want to work with us.
I'm going to try one more time.
This is
Don't
crazy,
know what else
Whick.
to do, but I don't know if you understand that federal
Whick,
judges
you don't understand
are
my-
not
yeah, go ahead,
beholden
Whick.
to Newsom. They're not beholden to some random mayor somewhere. They're beholden to Congress. Okay? They're beholden to the executive branch. They're one of the co-equal branches of government. Mayors cannot tell federal judges what to do, right? So they cannot instruct a federal judge to disobey the federal government because it's a federal judge. They have no power over them, right? They don't appoint them, none of that. So when federal judges across the country are reporting that
Whick,
ICE agents and DHS...
you're a lying piece
has
of shit,
fought-
and I can point this out.
Hold
They're
on, let me
lower
finish.
courts, not federal judges. All we need is lower courts to refuse to work with them. The federal judges can say, you know what? We're going to work
Hold
and
on,
we're going to
they're
be benevolent.
breaking
You're assuming
federal
this.
court
It's the lower
orders.
courts that
You
are
understand this,
refusing to
right?
work with
They're
ICE.
breaking federal court orders. The federal court is
Yes,
saying
they're
release
breaking
these
federal
people,
court
and they are
orders.
refusing
Yes,
to
I'm glad
release
you got
them.
the whole premise. Yes, they're doing this.
So you
This is
agree
crazy.
then that the federal courts are ordering ICE agents or ICE and DHS to release prisoners from custody or detainees from custody, and that ICE is refusing to do so. Do you concede that point?
What the fuck are? Look, listen. You know what? I'm gonna be really nice and benevolent and charitable here, and just assume you're being good faith right now because I just told you that the lower courts aren't cooperating with ICE at all. It doesn't matter what the federal courts say if the lower
That doesn't
courts
have
aren't
anything to do with what I
cooperating
said. Shut the
ICE.
fuck up. Shut up.
They're not.
Shut up. It has
Which
nothing to
you're
do.
smirking
I'm not talking
again.
about the lower courts. I'm
The
talking about
lower
federal courts.
aren't cooperating with ICE. It doesn't fucking matter, Wick. The lower courts aren't working with ICE. The whole city isn't working with ICE. I can give you states, whole states, matter of fact, Wick. California, Wisconsin, the whole city of Chicago. Matter of fact, we're going with New York next. I predict isn't going to work with Trump either. The whole
Okay, Wick,
jurisdiction of
can
New
you
York.
can you get a specific example of one of these judges
try,
claiming
okay?
that
Give me a
they
second.
didn't, so that we can look at this specific example and see
A specific
um,
example of them define. I'll give you one off the dome, okay? Do you remember CCOT? Do you remember what happened there? Okay? CCOT was a prison in El Salvador, I believe, that Trump used the Alien Enemies Act to send about 280 guys there, okay? There's all sorts of abuses and things that went on there in that whole process, but one of them was when they went and the lawyers for these people who were being shipped to CCOT, to a foreign prison, they went before a judge, and the judge said, okay, no, we gotta hear these guys out. They need their due process. So they ordered them not to, the Trump administration not to fly the planes out. Okay? The Trump administration said, oh, we already sent the planes. The judge told them, hey, they're in the air, but turn them around and bring them back home. The Trump administration ignored them and did not do that. That is one example off the dome
No.
back from last year.
El Salvador told the United Nations that it was merely providing infrastructure, and basically Trump was arguing, saying that they're under the exclusive control of El Salvador. Like, the Trump administration repeatedly told the U.S. courts that it lacked the authority to return the Venezuelans.
Okay,
sent to
that's not what
CCOT.
I'm talking about. I'm talking about
That's what they were
before they
saying, and
got to
that's true.
CCOT, before they even got there, the judge ordered the planes to not go there, to turn around, and the Trump administration ignored that order.
So, okay. Even if, well, hold on. For the grandiose perspective, if we take a bird's eye view with the argument, let's say that we even concede this point. This is a granule of sand in the whole scheme of when you say net negative for the United States in the whole operation that ICE is working in. When I point out whole cities that are refusing to cooperate with Trump, and then not to mention this, but the fact that we have ICE-free zones, we have California as a whole is working with him. New York is next with Mamdani is going to refuse to work with him, and that also applies to the lower courts. They're going to refuse to work with him. This is a civil, basically creating a civil political war in refusing to work with Trump.
I'm sorry,
Even if we
I don't mean
concede
to
that.
interject so much, but I'm having a problem because I'm trying to make sure that the conversation is capable of moving forward. And when we're trying to set a standard of like how he's capable of proving this, Wick has brought up data, whether that's true or
Okay,
not.
great.
Like he's
I
brought
can-
up data, but when he brings up the data, you do you do
No,
say
I'll
that you
address
don't
that.
believe
I'll
the
address that.
data. And so
Yeah.
I asked him to give it a specific example, and he gave the
Okay.
specific example. And so it is on
Do
me
they
because
have-
I am asking him to bring up specific examples here.
Do the courts
can I just
have
point out,
authority
just real
over
quick?
international affairs when
Hold
it comes to international airspace?
Can I just make this clear? What's happening?
Can you answer the question? Do
Hold on,
judges
let-
have
let me-
control
let
over
me-
international space and authority over international affairs?
No, the executive has a
Oh,
control of
shit, they
international
don't.
affairs, but that is
They don't.
not
Okay.
responsive.
I just wanted to make
to-
sure. That's
Again,
all.
that's not responsive to the point I'm being made. You keep doing this. When
No,
I'm
you
asked
said
for
that they
examples,
refuse judges'
I give
orders
you an
when the judges
example,
don't have
but then you
authority.
say, "Let me finish." I ask you ask for examples, like you got to show me. So I give you an example to show you, and you said, "Oh, look, you're just giving me one example, and that doesn't showcase that they keep
But I also
doing
throw
it."
that out
And you
and
keep doing
demonstrate
this
how it
dodge.
doesn't-
You're running. You're the
No,
marathon man. We're gonna
not
call you
running at all.
Marte Marathon because you're running a marathon because you run from every single point I make. Okay,
Nope,
Marte
I'm
Marathon
engaging
over
with
here.
this.
That's what
I've
that's your
engaged
name
directly
now.
with
That's
that
what
by
you
saying
live
that they
with.
have
That's
no
what you're
authority.
gonna
You've
be.
even agreed
But
with
here's the
that.
problem that you're having is I can
Sure,
provide
I'd love to
evidence
hear
and
the
examples
problem
of what
I'm
I'm
having. Go ahead,
saying,
Wick.
and I can show you again and again and again a pattern of behavior from DHS and ICE where, again, this is just breaking court orders.
I gave you a direct
Overwhelm.
response to your example.
But we'll give you, I'm going to even say, even in the case, right, that there's multiple cities, multiple municipalities, multiple states even that are refusing to work with the government. And I believe you used the term civil war or a civil war against the government.
it's a
Do you think that
political-
America is
political
worse
civil war.
off under a civil war?
That's not even analogous. To
Okay,
what
no,
you're
can I
making
just
right
answer
now.
yes or no? Is America worse off under a state of civil Cold War than it
I'll be
if
good
that
faith
didn't
and
exist?
engage with it, unlike you.
So again,
no,
ICE's
America's not
behavior is leading to this
You
state.
won't even let me answer the
and
question. You're gonna
therefore,
ask me a question.
and
I can't even
therefore,
answer it?
I'm just talking you through
You
it.
see what I'm saying?
And therefore,
Have faith. Go ahead.
and therefore,
Have
Trump
faith. Go ahead.
under ICE or ICE under Trump is a net negative for America because it's led to this state of multiple municipalities, cities, governorships, states, etc., refusing to work with the federal government. You just
You know why
ceded
that's
the
a lie?
argument by
You know why
your
that's
argument.
a lie? Obama had more deportations, and guess what happened? The right didn't fight him on deporting people.
A
or
marathon
even the
man again. You're
57
running
murder-
from
Hold
every
on,
single
hold
thing
on.
I'm saying. You're not
Hold on,
engaging
hold on.
with a single
The
goddamn
reason-
point. You're a
no,
marathon
I'm
man.
engaging directly with something that's antithetical to your point right now. So when we could do this by comparison and contrast the Obama administration with
We're
higher
not
deportations
comparing.
in
Nothing
all-
within
Yes,
the
it is.
nothing within
It
nothing
is.
within the prompt
You
brings up
understand
Obama.
that when you understand that when Democrats are in power,
Hold on.
the right doesn't fight
Hold on.
deportations.
We're not
but
arguing
when-
whether it was worse off under Obama.
No, hold on. No, this is
We're not
analogous
arguing whether
to
it
the
was worse
point.
off under Clinton.
No,
We're
no, no.
arguing whether it was worse
Wait,
off
no, that's what
under
we're arguing
the
over.
Trump
You said net
administration that is
negative.
currently
Under Trump
existing.
is a net negative. That's arguing that whole
Well, yes,
point.
but
What are you talking about?
Marte, he could believe that Obama was also a net negative, though. So it wouldn't really like matter. He could also think that was a
It
net
does
negative
matter.
too.
The reason why it matters is because if we're going to be isolationists and talk about the Trump administration, it's a good model to compare this with something by saying it's not a net negative to something in comparison by demonstrating that this isn't a negative. There's worse off scenarios than this, and it's a positive. Like, you have to be able to compare. We can't have a binary debate and say we're only arguing Trump without comparing this to anything else. Therefore, you can't have a good without comparing it to a bad. That doesn't make any sense.
The good we would compare.
But
to-
I'm saying that
go
if
ahead.
he thought that both were bad, it wouldn't matter. And so that's the
Even
reason
if
that
he
I'm
thought,
saying it,
hold
it
on,
wouldn't.
even if he thought both were bad, I can demonstrate why it's good and why they're not refusing by offering a demonstration that if states don't want to cooperate, they were cooperating the whole time during all previous administrations, maybe not the Trump administration before, but now they're not cooperating because this is a left or right thing. It's not because ICE is just creating a political civil war. This is what the left does, the violent left.
Thank you for the $30 scrons. But just to be clear, okay? My argument here is that if you are saying, okay, that the left is doing it, the right is doing it, whoever's doing it, that under Trump, ICE and their behavior, whether you think their behavior is justified or not, doesn't matter. ICE and their behavior has led to people refusing to work with the federal government, and that's bad, then you have to cede the prompt.
Can you
Then you have
demonstrate
to see
how
the prompt
ICE,
that ICE under Trump is a net negative for America. It doesn't even
Can you
have to be their
demonstrate-
fault.
Whick, can you demonstrate that this is causation by ICE and not the switching of
It
political
doesn't have
parties?
to be
Because when
caused by ICE.
Hold on. Answer this question.
For the prompt.
Because when ICE
Do you
ramps
concede
up
that
their
at least? Do you
numbers-
understand why it doesn't have to be caused by ICE?
Whick,
To cede to the
Whick,
prompt?
this doesn't
And
make
to be
any
clear,
sense
this is
because
your
when
argument, not
ICE
mine. My
hold
argument
on.
is
No,
much
no,
more
no, no.
broad.
Wick,
but
Wick,
even under,
listen
I'm just
for once.
demonstrating real quick. Please shut
Can
up.
you is the hoodie
Please shut
Well,
up.
hold on,
Please
hold on,
shut up.
hold on,
Please shut
wait,
up.
hold on. Wait, why doesn't it have to be caused by ICE?
So,
why not?
As I understand it, the prompt is ICE under Trump is a net negative for America. Is that the prompt? Am I correctly identifying what we've agreed to talk about tonight?
Sure. Okay. So you're saying that it doesn't have to be that like they want to be a net negative or
Yes,
they're
or
trying to be a net negative, but
it
that
could
is
just
just a
exist in a
descriptive
state.
claim. They
Yes.
just happen to be a
Yes.
net negative, even if they're
Yes.
just screwing up.
Yes.
Okay. So then the Marte, then do you think that these are with that in mind, whether or not it's on purpose, do you agree that these are mistakes?
Look, there are mistakes that happen, but when you say net negative, we're talking about a totality argument here by saying overwhelmingly it's more bad than good. Would that be correct?
Yes, it's more bad than good.
Right. So this whole debate, I've been waiting for a demonstration because you've been defending that people should fight in light of ICE, the whole time under this administration, which you're because the thing.
Hold on. During
Trump
this
says
conversation,
Trump,
when
under
have I
Trump-
said
hold
that
on, hold on.
once?
I let you go. I let you talk, but you're being bad faith and interrupting me. I'm almost done
It's
real
not
quick.
bad faith.
So the whole prompt says under Trump, which symbolizes the fact that under this administration, there for some reason there's a difference. When I can present you examples when ICE has had a polarizing example of increased activity of deaths, of deportations, and they don't riot, they don't fight ICE. How odd is that? You have to be able to compare this to something instead of having an isolated binary argument and just saying just Trump. That's crazy. But you still have to demonstrate
Okay.
it's because of ICE.
Real quick, we're gonna go for about 5 more minutes. If you guys are able to, on YouTube, if you go to fan funding in your chat, if you can just screenshot like super chats and send them to me, that would be helpful. And then again, guys, if you want to send super chats, also, we started pretty late. Are you guys
I can
able to go over
till we're done.
a bit?
Whatever you need.
Okay. And then, yeah, if people want to hop on and ask quick questions, you guys can jump in the waiting room in the Discord. The link to my Discord is in the description of my video, or you can put exclamation point Discord in the chat and that'll put it there as well. But, okay, so Whick, on the totality of
Are we getting
ICE
closings now?
being
or
bad,
Just
I was gonna say that we'll go for another 5 minutes before that, and then we'll
and then
get to
closings.
closings.
So this isn't
but
closings. This is me just answering your question. Okay, fair enough. I just want to make sure.
yes, yeah. So
Can you ask
on the
a question?
totality part, what is your? He's saying that he still hasn't heard something that says that there is more bad than there is good.
Right.
What is your best argument for there being more bad than good?
Sure. So my argument is that the degradation of our civil liberties through the abuses that ICE has done to the court system and to our civil rights, such as violating our First Amendment and Fourth Amendment, right? And as a matter of policy that they do this, to be clear, right? That this is worse, and any amount of deportations, 10 million, you can push a button and deport every single illegal immigrant that has ever been in America, and it would still not overcome the harm that is done to our republic through the degradation of our civil liberties that ICE has been doing, and the degradation of our courts that ICE has been doing. And the evidence I have put forth is the memo. I think I sent you that in a link. The violation of court orders, the violence and brutality that ICE has engaged with, not only with immigrants, but also with citizens, that we could go through if we like, and DHS consistently lying not only to the public, but to the court, which degrades trust in our institutions, that, again, deport all the immigrants if you want, right? All the illegal immigrants that you want. It still would not make up the harm that is done from these incidents. That's my argument.
Okay, so Marte, if we assumed everything he's saying here is true, right? Let's just pretend for a moment. I know that you disagreed with it throughout, but if we pretended that everything he said here was true, all the examples that he gave are factual and you believe in them, would you say that that does qualify ICE as a net negative?
No, I don't believe it qualifies ICE as a net negative, but let me explain why. Let's say that there's like, could I even ballpark a figure with you that you would agree with, Wick? Let's say that there's 90 killings, right?
Hold on,
Meaning, like, in the
can you?
process-
It's hard to hear you. Can you repeat that number, please?
You are going in and out a little bit.
Let me try to fix this. So give me 1 second.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
hard
try
hear
to
you,
reset it again real quick.
Okay, can you hear me? How am I sounding?
We'll keep
Yeah,
talking.
that's better. I do have a follow-up question, so try to make it quick because I do have another question.
Okay, like, even if we agree to a ballpark figure of like 70 or something, I'll be even charitable by saying this. During violent apprehensions that we've had, and we've taken people out and shot them in the order of doing our duties in apprehension, and 70 suspects and criminals died in the process of doing this. I would even say net negative. Trump arrested 400 to 600K in 1 year. Biden barely managed 1K. Now, when you say that the deportations don't matter, that's also an accumulation. We're talking about net. Net is an accumulation of all the duties and responsibilities that ICE is supposed to do. Now, when you throw this out, what you're doing is very sneaky by smuggling in. No, throw out the deportations. Okay, yeah, if you do by that metric, yeah, the argument would be more, the burden would be more on my side, and you'd be winning the argument. But unfortunately, what is the duty of ICE? To have deportations happen, to get illegal criminals off the street. In line of this duty, deaths are going to happen, especially with people resisting arrest. That's going to happen. But even then, you're talking about harm to people who are either resisting or not complying with law. That's going to happen when we're amping up more arrests. That means that this is going to continue, and I fully support it. I don't think it's a net negative, and I don't see the demonstration provided in this as a whole.
Okay,
said you had a
so you
question
said
for
that,
me?
like, even if we said that it was something like 90 or something like that, right? So if we say the number is somewhere around 90, and you're comparing this to deportations and the good that we get from deportations, if it turned out that illegal immigrants kill 80 people per year, but in the process of deporting illegal immigrants, ICE happened to kill 90 citizens or immigrants in the process of deporting them, would you say that ICE in that case would be a net negative? Yes,
I
or
would
no?
say that if they killed 90 people,
Or sorry.
trying-
That was for Marte, and then I'm gonna
So
come to
I'll
you.
answer
Sorry, Wick.
this. When you say 90, that's a really low number. When you talk about the criminals and doing all this, they actually do way more crime and do way more harm than just killing people. You're talking about like molestation of minors.
Sure, I'm giving you a hypothetical, and I'm asking you yes or no. Would you agree that
it's a
that
crazy
was
hypothetical? The reason why I think the hypothetical is crazy is because when you say this, you're using a very small number for an exacerbated issue.
No, I'm
that's
giving.
causing
Hold
more
on.
problems.
Sorry. I'm just trying to understand where your line is. So I'm giving you a hypothetical to understand where your lines are, because you
So you're
use
looking for a
deportations
threshold.
as like yes, because you
You're
use
looking for a
deportations
threshold,
as like
right?
a really great good that outweighs so many things. And so I'm wanting to understand, in this specific case, would you consider that to be a net
in
negative?
in totality, let's say that there's 90, right? Which is if we can reduce down to 90, it would be a dream. Let's say that it's
Do
90.
you think we're killing 90
I think,
civilians?
yeah, you can laugh all you want to. Wick,
Hold on.
that's
Do you
fine.
think
You
that
didn't talk during
that's
your whole statement.
happening? That
So
ICE is
here's the
killing?
thing,
No,
though.
ICE
Hold on.
isn't killing 90
Tom,
civilians
can
now.
you mute this guy? This guy fucking talks when I talk, but I don't talk when he talks. So listen,
Sure.
this is
If
the
you
thing
can,
that I'm gonna say.
I did want like a yes or no. The explanation is fine as well, but I am trying to get an answer on whether or not you think that that would be a net negative.
So let me go ahead and try to stillman what you just said, or you can repeat it because he interrupted me and I kind of say it again real quick. Can you be concise?
The question is, if I'm trying to get a yes or no to this. If there are 80 murders from illegal immigrants per year, and in 1 year, ICE happens to kill 90 people, citizens, immigrants, whatever, but they kill 90 people in the process of doing their jobs to deport these illegal immigrants, would you say that ICE in this case is a net negative? Yes or no?
No.
No.
And I can
Okay, so
explain why.
yeah, so what is the thing that is outweighing the proportionality of deaths being higher?
So when we look at who and why, I think that's extremely important for this stark example that we're going to bring up. So in light of the last two deaths that we've had that were non-illegal aliens, I think that the resistance and also the justification of these, because they were also let go and justified by use of force boards. When we say this, there also has to be a justification of this. So if you have people resisting arrest, and these are violent criminals or even criminal illegals, I don't see how that's a negative if they were taking crime off our streets and then people who are also threatening officers' lives in the performance of their duties, like Renee hitting the person and causing brutal injuries to a side hitting with the car. I don't think that that's a
Okay.
bad thing because she asked for that. She literally asked for all this to happen. She didn't ask for this,
Okay.
but she wouldn't have been harmed if she didn't put herself present and resist directives. So that's going to happen when you
Okay.
resist law enforcement.
Okay, so Wick, same question. If there were 80 murders per year from illegal aliens and ICE officers happened to kill 90 people in the process of trying to deport these illegal aliens, do you think that that by itself, discounting court orders, rights, all those other things, do you think that by itself would make this a net negative?
And to be clear, these would be unjustified killings, correct?
Let's say there's a mixture of like 80-20. 80
80 which
just,
way?
20 unjust.
Okay, 80 just, 20 unjust. That in and of itself, I just need to know more information because the amount of people being killed does not suggest to me necessarily the policy being improper or the policy being unconstitutional. My negative here would be if
Well, that's why I said void, like,
Sure,
you know,
sure.
court orders being violated,
not
rights being
necessarily
violated,
is
things
the
like
answer.
that.
Not
Because
necessarily. I'd have to know more, but not necessarily.
Okay.
Not just that. Just that would be insufficient.
Okay, so for you, the fact that they are trying to deport people, this is still a necessity to you.
Yeah,
that
deporting people is
these
fine.
sorts
I think
of
that
like negatives.
I'm not against deporting illegal immigrants. No.
Okay, and okay, so Marte, actually, Wick. So with that said, your main thing is rights violations, correct? Like
Yes.
rights violations,
I don't
breaking
think
the
that
law,
deporting
things like that.
Yeah, I don't think that deporting illegal immigrants in and of itself is a bad thing. In fact, it could be a good thing. I am for deporting violent illegal immigrants. I think that's a great thing. But the question is, how are we doing that? We can all acknowledge that we can do a good thing, but if we do it in a bad way, that the harm can outweigh of how we did it can outweigh what we actually did. And that's my entire argument, is that the harm of how ICE is operating is outweighing any good that they are doing.
Okay, and then Marte, for you, what earlier I asked if it was true that all of these people that they had broken all of these court orders, that ICE had broken all those court orders, if this would be enough for you to believe that this was a net negative, you still said no. So at what point would you feel as though there are enough, like, unjustly breaking court orders? We don't think that like judges are lying about this or anything, but that is true that they are actually breaking court orders. You still said that you don't think that this would be a net negative, or that ICE would be a net negative. So what would it take? Give me an example of something that you would say this is an example of this is an example of evidence that would show to me that ICE is a net negative.
I'll even use something that my opponent purportedly kind of brought up. He said that people are going into people's houses without warrants. That one good example, if he had like shown me evidence and said, okay, there's probably like 150 cases in doing this and it's ramping up, and let me show you this, how it's a pattern of this happening, and that's demonstrably true. I'd say, oh shit, they're actually engaging in true lying and dishonest. But when you bring up things like a Twitter account and then semantics upon how it's perceived and there's arrest, that's crazy. It's not even lying. That's just perception, approach to determine response.
So
Just like
what if instead of the examples of that actually happening, instead he had an example of like Christine Nome sending out an email to everybody saying, hey guys, we're going to start serving search warrants and going into houses without judicial warrants. Would that by itself be enough of a systemic problem there for you?
Oh, that's blatant. That's basically
Okay.
like, I mean, that's the smoking gun right there for sure.
Okay.
But when you
Okay,
show
so
a
Whick,
tweet
do you
on
have an
perception-
example
I
of something
sent you it.
of this? You
It
sent
is
something
the
to me.
link
Okay.
right
Let
after
me see.
Oh,
Politico
here we go. Far stretching the limits of
from
credulity
NBC
here, Whick.
News. ICE says its officers can
liberal
forcibly
news.
enter
Okay, I see
homes
this.
during immigration operations without judicial warrants.
So you're going to use a biased left-wing news organization. Let's view it. Crazy.
Okay,
Crazy
so
work
I'm
here,
going to
Whick.
pull up a share screen again.
Please do. Can you zoom in? Zoom
This is
in.
it hasn't even loaded yet. It's still on.
Oh, I see it on my end.
It's still on Politico.
Hey Tom, I gotta piss. I'll
Okay,
be
there
right
we go.
back. Oh yeah,
Okay,
I'll
just
look at
don't
this real quick.
turn off your cam,
All right.
please. Okay, it says ICE says its officers can forcibly enter homes during immigration operations without judicial warrants. 2025 memo. The policy was revealed in May 12th memo. Whistleblowers shared with U.S. Senator.
Can you send that to me? Through
Yes.
X?
Okay, sent. I'll read just a little bit of this real quick.
It's got to be from NBC.
In internal
so it has to be true.
immigration. Well, we can try to see if there's like further evidence on this, or if there's something that you have that would go against this for sure. An internal immigration and customs enforcement document in May shows that ICE told officers and agents they can forcibly enter homes of people subject to deportation without warrants signed by judges. The memo dated May 12th, which reads that it is from ICE Acting Director Todd Lyons, was shared with Senator Richard Blumenthal, Democrat from Connecticut, by two whistleblowers. It says ICE agents are allowed to forcibly enter a person's home using an administrative warrant if a judge has issued a final order of removal. Administrative warrants permit officers and agents to make arrests and are different from judicial warrants, which judges or magistrates sign allowing entry into homes. Lyons notes in the document that detaining people in their residence based solely on an administrative warrant is a change from past procedure. Okay, so real quick, Whick what is the difference between an administrative warrant and a judicial warrant? Because in this
Sure.
case, it is saying that the administrative warrant is still signed by a judge.
No,
So
it is not
what
signed by a
if they're
judge.
given permission by a
Just
judge?
to be
Okay,
clear,
go
no,
ahead.
you're wrong. An administrative warrant is not signed by a judge. It is signed by could be anyone. It could be a fellow ICE agent, a fellow ICE officer. A judge does not sign those administrative warrants. A judicial warrant, and it's in the name, is signed by a judge.
Oh, sorry, it did say. I'm sorry, it does say, and are different from judicial warrants,
Yes.
which judges or magistrates
In the
sign,
judicial warrants, they have
allowing entry
you
into
need
homes. Okay.
probable cause to get one, right? And they sign off. You present your probable cause. You sign off. They sign off that there is probable cause and allows agents, whether they be police agents, ICE officers, whatever, to enter a private residence without the permission of that private resident owner, right? There's a process for this. They go through it. What ICE is doing here, which is a change from the normal procedure, is they're saying, we don't need a judge to sign it. We can simply sign it ourselves. And it bypasses that whole process that is meant to protect the citizen from improper searches, seizures, improper violations of your privacy, etc. It's a violation of the Fourth Amendment.
So these are like a last order of deportation, and then not to mention this, Tom. I've also debunked this. What is the matter of fact? Can I get the date of the article? Let me look.
Yes,
'cause I'll get the date.
the article.
January 21st,
yeah,
2026.
the article.
It says 2025 memo. But then
Yes,
if
it
you
was
look
done in
at the
May.
link
They
I
made it.
sent, right, correct. But I just sent a link from DHI correcting that matter, and that's post February 4th. They actually responded to that, which debunks your whole fucking dumbass claim. Matter of fact, Tom, I sent it to you through X, and all this shit debunks everything that he just said. I gotta piss real quick.
Okay,
While
so
Go
it says
piss.
DHS.
Send it to me.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
DM it to me on
Uh,
Discord.
I will. Okay, so it just to be clear, this is something that is on the DHS website. So this isn't posted by
While he
somebody
brings
else.
up
This
Okay,
is
you just sent
posted.
me
I
what I
bring up
sent you. Send me
DHS.
what he sent me.
Yeah, I'm gonna piss while his shit gets debunked right now. I'll be right back.
Okay, I'm
Okay.
I'm real scared to get the debunkings. Thank you.
Okay, let me share this screen again while I read this. Okay. So this one says, this is on, as I said, the Homeland Security website. It says DHS sets the record straight on administrative warrants and American public support of President Trump's deportation of illegal aliens. Washington Department of Homeland Security, DHS, is debunking several of the mainstream media's false narratives related to the use of administrative warrants to arrest illegal aliens, as well as the notion that most Americans do not support immigration enforcement. Administrative warrants matter for national security. In recent weeks, the media has falsely claimed that the use of administrative warrants by Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, to arrest illegal aliens with final order of removal at their homes is a violation of the Fourth Amendment. DHS General Counsel James Percival explained the constitutionality and legal precedent behind the use of such warrants to arrest illegal aliens in a recent op-ed for the Wall Street Journal. One, every illegal alien who DHS serves administrative warrants, known as I-205S, has had full due process and a final order of removal from an immigration judge. The officers issuing the administrative warrants also have found probable cause.
Can we stop right there?
Cooked.
Yeah, that seems to be where the...
Okay.
Yeah, you just got cooked.
It seems-
Whick. Called the fuck out. Anyways,
So
let's
let me
move on with
hold on.
this bullshit.
Just a question. If the Supreme Court of the United States contradicts this, will you cede this debate?
This comes from the
Okay.
HSI directly.
Sure. Who
So
has
even if we
more
said the Supreme
authority
Court-
to
hold
interpret the
on,
law? Just
hold
it's a
on.
simple question.
It's fucking stupid, Whick.
Who has more
Your
authority to
whole
interpret
shit,
the law?
Just throw it out, bro.
DHS or the Supreme Court of the United States? Simple
Say
question.
it again.
Who has more authority to interpret the law? DHS or the Supreme Court of the United States? Who has final authority? If DHS disagrees
hold
with the
on,
Supreme
well,
Court
now
of the
we're
United
getting
States,
into, like-
who wins?
This isn't a yes or no. This is a semantics thing. I have to explain this.
It's a simple, it's a
Does the
binary choice.
No, it's not a binary because the
No,
Supreme
no,
Court
hold
leaves
on,
it
I'm
up
gonna
to
ask
the
it again.
states for the
If
states
the
to
Supreme
decide
Court
how
of the
to
United
do
States,
Well, wait, hold on. The problem is that number 2 says, for decades, the Supreme Court and Congress have recognized the propriety of administrative warrants in cases of immigration enforcement.
but not
So
in cases
this
of
does
breaking into
cite-
people's homes. And I can cite
Exactly,
the
Whick.
Supreme Court cases which show that you cannot break into people's homes without a judicial warrant, except for in a couple exceptions, none of which are covered by this.
This is covered. So you're saying that
You don't
D-
even
that-
know. You don't even know.
You're saying
the
DHS
exceptions.
is lying about this on the article. Are they lying?
Yes, DHS is lying.
Oh, you're saying? Can you prove to
Yes,
me
I
that they're
can
lying?
prove that they are lying.
Demonstrate that they're lying on their damn site. Go ahead, Whick.
Sure.
I'd
So,
fucking love to see this shit.
Here, let me
Peyton
read
versus
the
New
next
York,
couple lines
1980,
real
No
quick.
a
evidence.
Just
Supreme
real quick
Court
before
of the
right now.
United
I'd
States.
Hold on,
love to see
wait.
shit.
Before you do, hold on. Before you do, there's 2 more lines that I want to read real quick
Okay.
on this. So it says, under federal immigration law, officers may issue an administrative warrant, which means that the probable cause finding is made by an executive branch officer rather than a judicial officer. This is consistent with broad judicial recognition that illegal aliens aren't entitled to the same Fourth Amendment protections as U.S. citizens. It is also consistent with the Supreme Court's admonition that the touchstone of the Fourth Amendment is whether the search or seizure is reasonable, not whether it is supported by a judicial warrant. So, okay, what?
So
go
can
ahead.
I
Thank
debunk
you.
this now?
That's
Fairly
such a good
clearly and
statement
prove
to
that
hear.
DHS is
Anyways.
lying. So, Supreme Court, 1980, Peyton versus New York. The court held that police must obtain a warrant to search a suspect's home to make a routine felony arrest, absent consent or exigent circumstances. This established that warrantless, non-consensual entry into a home violates the Fourth Amendment. Stiegald versus United States, 1981. Extending Peyton, the court ruled that a warrant is required to enter a third party's home to search for a suspect, even if there is an arrest warrant for the suspect. This debunks the DHS's claim that even though they have an order of removal, that they don't need a judicial warrant. They still do. Okay? This protects the privacy interests of non-suspects.
You've conceded
Welsh
this.
versus Wisconsin, 1984.
You've
The court
conceded this.
emphasized that warrants are presumptively required for home entries, limiting exigent circumstances exceptions to serious offenses and rejecting them for minor ones, like non-jailable traffic violations and things like that. Johnson versus United States in 1948, an early foundational case stressing that warrants must be issued by a neutral and detached magistrate rather than law enforcement to prevent improper intrusions into homes. So the 1948 case debunks that ICE agent who has, again, they're not neutral, they're not detached. They can't issue
Wait,
these
in this
warrants.
case, are they talking about police?
So I gave you
or
4.
federal
I gave you
agents?
4 Supreme Court cases
No, hold on,
that
hold on.
debunk
Let's
what DHS
No,
is
no, that's not
lying
debunk.
about
Hold
there.
on.
And the fact that
Let
they
me
have
question
lied to
your
you
claims that you're making that are
demonstrably,
bullshit.
that I've shown you in
Hold
4K,
on.
right,
Talking
that
over
they
me
are
doesn't help the
lying,
debate.
Okay,
right,
yeah,
is
Wick, let
further
him
evidence to my
respond.
overall point.
Yeah, Wick's not letting. Wick is crazy. So
What's
here's the
crazy,
thing,
you
though.
keep trying to
let him
interrupt me
respond.
while
The
I'm
statement
talking.
that you made, the statement that you
Well,
made.
wait, hold on,
in that
hold on,
case-
Marte. Wait, hold on, Marte. Wick, wrap it up real quick. Land quickly, please. So he can
That's
respond.
the point. The fact that the DHS is lying about this is further evidence of my claim that they're eroding our civil liberties and looking to violate our civil rights. And these
Okay.
4
Marte, go
Supreme
ahead.
Court cases justify this.
Okay.
So in that case that you brought up, were they
Which one?
talking about police or federal agents?
Hold on.
Which case?
Which
he,
case?
He brought up 4 different ones.
The last one that you brought up and you cited the date. Remember you had
I
brought a
cited the
date?
date for all of them. You talking about the 1948 one?
The first one. Let's go with the first one.
Okay, Peyton versus New York, 1980. What about it?
Was that against police, local state police?
Yes.
Okay, then it doesn't apply. Throw the whole fucking shit out.
Hold on, you
Anyways,
understand how precedent
next
works?
to this, hold on, the whole shit's fucking moot. It doesn't make any sense because when we're talking about different authorities, we're talking about different jurisdiction. That doesn't even fucking apply. So you went on a whole fucking rant for no reason, Wick. Back to this. When it comes to federal authority, there's a difference in authority and jurisdiction that they have compared to regular state police. Now, federal authority can supersede state in all this. I understand that, but your case is only sided with local state police. That's it. This is
Okay.
asinine.
It says that an agent of the state, whether it be federal or whether it be local, needs a judicial warrant. Otherwise, right? Because the Fourth Amendment applies to federal agents
Oh, you're not
just
going
as
with
much
the
as they do
case.
to
I
state
asked for the
agents.
case, not
Would
the
you
amendment.
cede to that?
When I asked for the case,
Well, will
I
you
didn't
cede
talk
to
about
that?
the amendment.
When the Fourth
Now
Amendment,
you're conflating
the Fourth
two things.
Amendment
Hold
protects
on.
you from
No, this is
unreasonable
very
search and
dishonest of you
seizure
to do
and
this.
warrantless entry
I'm
to a resident
Tom.
from both
I'm
federal
Tom.
and
I'm
state.
asking him about the case, not the amendment. You see how he's conflating the two now?
Well, the case is
In
about
that
the amendment.
case,
It's not
in
conflation.
that case, nope. These two things can exist separately. In that case,
But they do
it
not.
applied to state and local police. Now the amendment, I'll agree with that. But in that case, it only applies to state police.
It does not
Does
only
it
apply
not?
to
Wait,
state police.
hold on. Wait, let me clarify, Marte. So he's saying that the case is talking about whether or not this law applies to the Fourth Amendment, correct?
Well, they can appeal to the Fourth Amendment to address state police in this case. Yes, I can agree to that, but overwhelmingly, this doesn't mean that they're talking about federal authority in that specific case.
So from my understanding, like the ARC case on the Fourth Amendment where they talk about what is it, the jurisdiction thereof, and they talk about whether or not like immigrants have the same rights versus citizens versus people. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, so in this case they're making a decision on like local schools and whether or not somebody will go to the local school, but that decision based on how they interpreted the Fourth Amendment then literally applied to everything that concerns the Fourth Amendment. Are you saying that there's a distinction here between like state and federal as far as the Fourth Amendment is interpreted, or?
So would a third party be a non-involved party?
It needs to be a third, like in what context?
So here's the thing, though. If we're talking about this specific case involved, and I'm going to dial this down real quick. If we're talking about the specific case, and I understand that we can appeal to this amendment for that, but that case did not involve federal authorities and doesn't apply to federal authorities because they were not involved in this case. And it's kind of a moot point when you're saying, well, just because of an issue with state police and state authorities, that's who we were dealing with in this case. Now you're saying that it applies to federal authorities
Yes,
too,
that's how the
in
law
that
works.
specific
Okay,
It
hold on,
applies
hold
if
on,
they did,
hold
if it
on, hold on,
didn't-
hold on.
You see how
Wait,
confusing this is when you
hold on,
conflate the two?
wait, hold on. So Wick, your claim is that this is a
This case
decision that is
applies
setting
to
precedent
the
for the
government.
Fourth Amendment, correct?
the government's
You're saying
relationship
this
to
is
the
a-
Fourth Amendment. Yes.
Okay, so it is about the Fourth Amendment. Okay,
Yes.
so and he's just saying that this sets precedent for the Fourth Amendment. So this
Mhm.
would literally apply to anybody. It's not about the decision itself. It's about
military,
the
it applies to
precedent that it sets
all.
as far as how we. It's just about how we interpret the Fourth Amendment and how these things apply as far as citizens' rights, not like
Yeah.
Yes.
whose jurisdiction it is,
It
but
is-
as
it
far
is
as
in this
what
case,
our rights
And
are
it is
as
this.
citizens.
Yes. Just let me explain for a moment. It is what the catalyst for this case was local police, state police, I believe. However, right, the catalyst, or what they were actually asking was, again, what conditions are sufficient to satisfy the Fourth Amendment's requirements? And it established that you need, again, absent exigent circumstances, that if you don't have a warrant and it's non-consensual, then it violates the Fourth Amendment. A judicial
So
warrant,
hold
to be
on.
clear.
So Tom, you notice how he said citizens' rights? Are these citizens that ICE is really mainly dealing with?
Well, that's why we're talking. That's why I brought up the art case as well, is because, well, that's not
Right.
why, but the
That's
art
why I brought
case
that up.
does say that the citizens and immigrants have the same rights. That, like, it uses the term people in the Fourth Amendment, and so it's in the ARC case specifically says that this immigrant child doesn't lose any rights as far as
Okay.
the
And
Constitution
just to be
goes,
clear,
because the
just
Constitution says
Due
people, not
process for
citizens.
non-citizens
a
is
housekeeping
different from
issue right
citizens.
here. I have about a
Well,
15-minute
wait,
hard
wait, hold on,
Go
wait.
ahead.
Just before you, I go ahead. Wait,
Yeah, I have 15
quickly.
minutes left, is what I'm saying, and then I have to go.
Okay. So I'll just respond to what it was you were saying, Marte, just as far as that goes. The fuck, I totally just lost.
Oh, I thought I
what
lost
your last
internet. I was
statement
like,
was.
did you
Shit.
guys?
No,
Okay.
my bad.
Okay.
I do you remember what your last statement was, Marte?
Yeah, so he said citizens last time. So I want to ask a question to Wick here. If he
Well,
can
wait,
see.
we gotta wrap it up. I did just want to
All
answer
right,
your
I'll wrap it up.
question, but
Are we
I
doing closing statements?
yes, we're gonna do closing statements real quick. We got somebody in the waiting room, and then I'll read questions as quickly as possible. So, um, we had Wick go first last time, and Marte, you went second. So this time we will have Marte go first and Wick go last.
Wait, there was the last time that me and Wick debated with you?
He's talking about
I think
the
this is
No,
the
opening
first.
for
statement versus the
intros.
closing statement.
Yeah, for
Oh, you're
intros,
talking
we want to
about
flip
this.
them around for how they went. Yeah, so go ahead. 4 minutes at max. Try to do them quickly, and then we'll get to questions. Go ahead, Marte.
So here's the thing about my opponent, Wick. He agrees with me, but he also disagrees with me, which is counterproductive and counter to his argument. When I say that Trump has basically had a blistering 393,000 deportations within his second terms, his first year alone, then my opponent says, well, that's not what we're talking about here. That doesn't matter. That's not tangential. Yeah, I support it. Then all of a sudden says that no, it's an overwhelming net negative. Well, hold on. If he's setting record levels of successes and also criminal, I would say, arrests during this time, we can say that that's a success. I was looking for a net negative in this whole argument. Haven't heard a demonstration of this. He cited several incidents where I can point out bad apples and things, even if I concede this, and even if we can concede the whole thing with the Trent Agua gang, whatever that thing that was happening. I'm not going to dive into that. But it's like, even if I do concede all this, but the success level of the arrest and the direct, I would say the targeted arrest are more successful. And there's 60 deaths. They would be deaths of people who either violently assaulted law enforcement or resisted arrest or illegal aliens. I don't see how that's even a net negative if we're eliminating crime and scum off the streets. And also, these shootings were justified by a use of force committee and use of force boards and also cleared. Yeah, sure, the optics nightmare may be a bad thing for the public headline test. But here's the thing, though. He doesn't want me to bring up the fact that this administration with ICE was more successful in doing targeted arrest and criminal arrest and deportations than previous administrations where Obama was separating families, leaving kids here alone, and their detention centers were worse, almost like animal shelters compared to Trump's. We can overwhelmingly see videos of the kids being held in basically what looks like safe havens with basketball hoops and all this. They look like daycare centers compared to Obama's and everything else above that. He doesn't want me to talk about this because you have to compare something to something else in order to say it's bad. Bad compared to what? This isn't a binary argument. This is an argument that I can demonstrate that Trump is an overall good. He's literally conceded the whole prompt and said, yeah, it's good. I support deportations. Why is ICE here? Oh, deportations, the massive thing. The fact that these deaths have happened in the line of duty, we can look at these. The people that have arrested, Renee Good hit the officer, these other illegals. Some of them were basically PDF files that people have stopped becoming like from hampering these arrests. The fact that the liberal left is defending the arrest of PDF files is bad in itself and traveling all the way from Missouri to do this. yeah, you've had an 8-hour drive to think about whether or not you should refuse to do this or waste your time, but you're literally engaging in hampering the arrest of criminals and detaining from getting off the streets who are violating the 13-year-olds in our states and committing crimes and all this. It's just egregious the fact that he's defending literally PDF files from being taken off the street and saying that F ICE, F ICE. Yeah, cool. If we do this and NIS takes their place, guess what's going to happen? Because Trump's the administration, he has a beef with Trump and not the hand that's taking out these deportations. That's literally what his arguments is. Fight ICE, fight them, arrest them. I'll sit in the comfort of my own home and tell you to fight them, but I won't do it myself. This is just the diary of a madman that we've heard in this whole debate. Somebody who won't have the guts to even fight them himself. He'll stay in the comfort of his own home, tell other people to die on his behalf by resisting arrest and fighting law enforcement. But this is what you have on his end. There hasn't been an argument I've heard that was a net negative in ICE's behalf. Still waiting for this. And even the evidence that he brings up has been debunked by DIH's site specifically. And it's like we move forward and it's like I haven't heard a compelling argument. I'll end it there.
All right. Thank you, Marte. Whick.
So, I think that I have made a compelling case that ICE is consistently violating not only immigrants' rights, but citizens' rights, violating the First Amendment of the Constitution, violating the Fourth Amendment of the Constitution, not just a few bad apples, but by policy, by design. In the Trump administration and their policies and how ICE is acting is destroying our civil rights and civil liberties. I've given several examples. We've shown several examples on screen. We went through piece by piece, line by line, showing that DHS has lied. They lied about the Preddy shooting. They lied about the Good shooting. They lied in that debunking that happened. It was, again, contrary to the Supreme Court precedent. And we have shown that, and I trust that the audience can see that. I also trust that the audience can see that Marathon Marte has run from every single point I have made. He has refused to engage in a single thing that I have said, instead using deflection, dodging, not bringing up any single points, refusing to understand that while you can do a good thing by deporting people, if in the process of doing that good thing, you are destroying much more, that it makes the outcome net negative. And that is my argument. Thank you for having me, Tom. Thank you for being here, Marte. I do appreciate it. But at the end of the day, fuck ICE.
All right. Appreciate it, guys. And thanks for coming on and doing the debate. Hope you guys were okay with the moderation. I am a bit more active in my moderation, especially later in the debates to try to
Your house.
get
Your rules.
questions answered. So, all right, we're gonna pull in the first person, and we'll try to make this quick. We got about
10
2
minutes.
minutes.
So, yeah, I get 10.
NWO, make ask your question quickly, please.
I keep hearing
we hear you.
civil
Go ahead.
liberty. Can you hear me? All right.
Yes, we hear you. Go ahead, ask your question.
I noticed I'll give Whick credit. I didn't hear any ad hominem attacks from him. But I want to ask him about his civil liberties. Does that go the same with Harris and Biden telling the DOJ to deplatform and censor people that went against COVID-19 official statements like they did? Do you have a problem with that one too?
Do I have a problem?
All right, I'm gonna let Wick answer, but I am gonna go ahead and let you go, NW. I appreciate you coming on and asking the question, man.
Oh, okay. I wanted to hear his response. But in the case of Biden and Harris's DOJ, what happened here is that FBI agents and things would alert Twitter and alert Facebook and alert other social media organizations to possible violations of their TOS, right? I do kind of have a problem with that, and that does bring up some First Amendment issues, but it is a far cry from what he said happened, which is they directed them to deplatform them. That is not what happened. I just wanted to set the record straight. Now, it's still kind of a jawboning thing, right? And that does bring up some First Amendment issues, but it's a far cry from how it's presented. So if your question is, do I have issues with it? Some, but I don't think you presented it correctly. That's my answer.
Okay. WTF over 2 for $2 super chat said immigration judges are part of the executive branch. Thank you. The Trib for $5 said, by the way, at least 32 people have died in custody, in ICE custody in 2025 per AI overview. This doesn't involve Renee Preddy. It doesn't involve aggressive encounters. Thank you, Trib. Trib also for another $5 said, for Marte, how does ICE get held accountable if you feel not one court in America can fairly judge them? Is it up to Trump? What is the remedy? Quickly, Marte, what is the, how would people be held accountable if not by courts? Oh, I'm so sorry. Hold on. I muted you a minute ago because you had a bunch of background noise pop up. Go ahead.
Well, this is a tough conundrum to find out who's at fault here, especially when you have whole states agreeing that they're not going to work with the Trump administration. That's tough, but we do have internals as far as recruiting, like our DEA agent, Linda, on my side, who did work use of force boards, and they have no incentive to help ICE because they're externally promoted to help suss out some of the liabilities we have on our end. Internal investigations happen all the time. That's the best we can do. But in regards to a political civil war, my best guess is as good as yours, to be honest with you. It's tough.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna pull in the next caller real quick. Vlog, thank you for coming on. What was your question?
Okay, hi. My one question is for Marte. Just regarding ICE DHS in general. Do you not find it like kind of problematic that the DHS has consistently lied, right? Like Alex Preddy, Renee Good, even regarding like kid with the bunny ears hat, like how he was detained, they've consistently lied. Don't you find it a little more difficult to trust them when they say, "Hey, totally hand wave away the fact that we've been using administrative warrants to just like kick down doors and like come after people that we think are illegal"?
All right, thank you.
Okay,
Vlog.
when you
We're
say
gonna
kick
let
down
you go, and
doors,
we'll let. Well, yeah, if you want to clarify it.
I'm
go
using
ahead.
that hyperbolically, like not literally, but like they're using that to essentially enter people's homes and detain people
so
instead
when
of
you say
judicial
that
warrants.
So when you say that DHS lied, I brought up the DHS site when they set the record straight, dismantling his whole claim that he said that they lied. And then when he brought up the tweet saying that they lied, all that is just reframing of a statement. That doesn't prove that they lied. I'm still waiting on a lie, right? Haven't even
So
heard that
they
all.
can I just clarify and ask real quick?
Yeah,
go ahead.
Was
once
in the
you go, what give your clarification, but then I do have to move on because Wick does have to go pretty quickly.
I got
So
5 minutes.
I want to.
absolutely
go ahead.
understand. Love you, by the way, Wick.
Love
But specifically regarding like the cases of like Renee Good and Alex Preddy, they blatantly lied about the situations that led to them dying. So I
Okay, can
think
you
that
prove?
kind
Can
of
you?
loses.
When you
Sure.
say that, you're expecting me to just buy this empty assertion when you say that they
No,
just
we're the
lied. So you'll have to demonstrate.
car
It's gonna be
stuck
a
in
whole
ice.
different debate. So Renee Good did hit the officer with a car. Was that not
I'm not
correct?
asking about that. Where the car's stuck in ice.
No, it wasn't stuck. It moved and hit him. So which proves that wasn't
No,
stuck.
I'm not talking about her car. I'm talking about their cars. Were
The
they stuck in snow?
Chrissy Nome said that the DHS ICE officers' cars were stuck in ice, and that the first officer who shot that the claim was that they were trying to get his car out of the ice.
What does that have to do with Renee Good in this whole lying
That's
about
a
the
blatant
Whether or
lie
not they
about
were
the
lying about
situation that
the
led.
case. I will say real
Sorry,
quick,
Tom.
it does seem, if you watch another angle of the video, it does seem as though before they pull up, there is another ICE vehicle that is like 3 cars down that does look like it may be stuck in ice. There's the
I
4
mean,
minute video
even
that
if that
comes from somebody's
happened,
back porch camera.
even if that happened, and then somebody does correct their statement down the line, to me that doesn't
But they
demonstrably
didn't.
prove that they were maliciously lying. There was malice. Do you understand that people
They
can correct
didn't
their
correct
statements
it.
afterwards? No, you're just
Absolutely,
telling me
but they
didn't.
haven't corrected it.
Hold on real quick. You're just asking me to just buy these empty assertions you're giving me right now. When they say they haven't even corrected it because there's
Yeah,
bigger fish to fry,
we don't have
I
a
can
way to like
understand
kind
that
of
too.
prove this right now. But I appreciate you coming on, Fog. Thank you for
All right, no problem.
asking
Love
the
you guys.
question.
Bye.
Sorry
No
that
idea
we're
what
in
that
a bit of a hurry here, but
Yeah, quick as you can. Quick as you can. I'll try to get through all
all
the ones
right.
you got.
Aaron M Sound, $10 if someone sends ice or they just show up at Marte's house. They force their way into the house just without a judicial warrant because he's brown and we don't know if he's a citizen. Would he be okay with that, or is that illegal because it's his house?
I would actually be fine with that because the law would be on my side, just like Renee Good. If she said, "Hey, you know what? I'm going to comply," she can. Her fight was with the court, not with the law enforcement. Then, so it actually be practicing my rights if I was to have this fight in court instead of fighting law enforcement and trying to be judge and jury with a 3,000-pound weapon.
All right. I'm trying to
They got 2
find
minutes.
one that is
The lawsuit would be
Whick.
grandiose, by the way, too.
um, let's see.
Hey, Wick, what is that phallic-shaped object on your shelf right there?
It doesn't look
Just-
like any of the questions are specifically
Just okay,
for,
good. Okay,
for
I'm just curious.
Wick.
Sorry.
So I will if Wick you need to head out, so I'll let you go ahead and go, and we'll let Marte answer some of these questions if he wants to
Okay.
stay and answer. But Wick, one more time, if you want to shout your channel out, tell everybody where they
Sure.
can find you.
Wick TV, you can find me at YouTube, Wick-TV. You can find me on Twitch at Wick TV. Thanks for being here. Or, well, I guess, thanks for hosting me. And I'll see you guys later, okay? Bye-bye.
Appreciate you coming on, man. Have a
Bye.
good one.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, gang, we're about to go, but just let me tell you what I got coming up. Can you guys see me? Ugh. What do you guys think? Let's see. What's the poll say? I'll end the poll. Okay, the poll says, once it, I guess, loads here. Is it going to load? I just ended it. It was 85% says I won, and 15% says Marte won. Honestly, the fact that 15% of you thought that he won, I don't know. Like, I fear for our future as a country. If 15% of you thought that guy had anything, any kind of point to make, I don't know if there's anyone I've met as dumb as that man. And that actually made it harder to debate, to be clear, right? That made it more difficult because I would make a point that a smart person would just cede to, okay? And would just be like, oh, yes, that makes sense. Or, oh, of course that follows. But because he was not smart, we had to pull teeth on every single little thing, even though it made him look dishonest and dumb. And it was terrible for him, but it was annoying. And it made it more difficult. It made it harder to get through things. It made it harder to deal with any of the points, right? But yeah, 15% of you, I don't know what to tell you. That's insane. Frankly, I thought it was going to be like 2% or 3% because a few people just hate me, okay? And no matter what I do, they'll just hate me. But 15% of you, that's crazy. You guys must be trolling. I don't know. I'm going to go. I love you all. Give me money. I need more money. Money good. So I'll have call-ins either tomorrow or the next day or Thursday, and I'll do, we have a show coming up Friday at 8 p.m. Where I will be moderating and not debating on whether or not America should be a Christian nation. So tune in for that. Ooh, this was a rough one, gang. But we did it. I love you, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.